Hey guys, welcome back to our nightly broadcast of Resistance Chicks election updates. Hey, guess what? There's no bad days. No bad days. And actually, this has been a pretty good one. We have so much to bring you in the latest of election updates. It's
my
going
mind
to
is
your
blowing.
mind.
My blowing is this. This is my mind. It is blowing. You guys have to stick with me because I have so much for you. The first thing I want to bring to you right off the bat is this. Don't
yell. They're right here. Okay. I was yelling too, probably. We get a little excited. Whatever you do while Leah's bringing that up, don't listen to anybody. Don't listen to people. Just stop it. Okay.
Turn it off television.
I'm talking about your coworkers, your
Yep.
neighbors, your friends, your family.
Yep.
None of them are doing the research
Right.
that Leah and I are doing.
Right.
I guarantee you that.
Right,
Okay?
exactly. Donald Trump is president of the United States. Donald Trump will be president in 2021. Donald Trump will be president for the next 4 years. He is your president. They cannot steal this because it does not belong to them. And that's what you need to know.
Yep.
Lawsuits have been filed all around the country. Not just the Trump team. The Amistad Project. I'm going to bring you the Amistad Project that filed just late tonight in Wisconsin.
Nice.
City Pal's coming out. She's releasing the Kraken. She's filing criminal charges starting in Georgia.
Are you going to talk about her being a military prosecutor?
That's not on my docket, but there's more.
Can you please
more
tell
on the
him about,
docket?
just tell him about that. Just tell him right now.
What I want to bring to you.
She can prosecute treason.
Yeah.
You got to be a special kind of a lawyer in order to be able to do that, and she's one of them.
I don't know if she's a prosecutor that she can, like, at this
You
point.
got to be a lawyer. That she is a military lawyer. She has whatever it is her credentials are. Okay.
Right, but she would actually have to be hired on. She'd have to have a government position as a prosecutor in order to prosecute.
I'm just trying to say she has the ability to do it, and
Right.
she's one of the only people that can.
Okay, so when your friends and your family say there's no corruption, so Trump lawyers have gone all around the country and they have been taking sworn affidavits and making videos. We've been bringing you these videos. Somebody put together a compilation of some of the more, just some of the allegations out of the Detroit counting ballot center. So I'm just going to go right there.
Voter fraud.
Remember this.
I think the most extensive and inclusive voter fraud organization in the history of American politics.
I would say about 9 o'clock. That's when things started to get sketchy.
All the ballots that we're processing up there had the
I
date
gotta
of
make
November
sure my
4th,
lighting's all right.
with the sticky
like ghost
note
too.
on top of it saying process them as November 2nd.
I'm sharing on Facebook.
Coworkers got pretty excited.
Okay. You're talking over. You're not going to catch all these.
Did you tell them what it was? Because I was trying to share on Facebook. Okay.
These are the
Sorry.
Michigan people who have been interviewed by Trump lawyers, and these are their sworn testimonies that they will be bringing into court.
Great.
All the ballots that we're processing up there had the date of November 4th, with the sticky note on top of it saying process them as November 2nd.
All the ballots at one time that they were processing had a sticky note that said process November 2nd, even though they said November 4th, and this is in Michigan.
Coworkers got pretty excited about a message that popped up on our screen, and this is at one of the counting boards. So this is where the electronic poll books are posted.
On her computer screen.
On our computer screen, and it says, "Warning: this system is being hacked."
They put in a square.
One of her co-workers said their system literally said, "Warning, this system is being hacked."
Stop it.
The rest of the media.
Mm-hmm.
And they told me, but hey, I come to do my work. My work is look for the ballots. Oh, no, you have to stay there. But just so you know, the Democrats or the people that were there supporting Biden, they don't wear any credentials, nothing.
They weren't wearing any credentials.
The Democrats weren't credentialed.
Mm-hmm.
These guys, the Republicans, had to go through training class and get credentials and had to wear the credentials.
Come on
There
now.
were a bunch of people there walking around the tables. But if you were supporting Donald Trump, you need to wear a credential which shows your name, GOP.
This is what we call equal protection clause, and this is what people don't understand. There were people in that building in Detroit that had no credentials and they could walk around. But if you had the credential on and it said GOP, then you were not allowed to walk around.
And then, but everybody else didn't wear that except us.
What they were supposed to do is take the problem ballot, they got jammed, and they were supposed to discard the whole batch. Numerous times throughout the night, countless times, they were not discarding these batches. They were taking the ballot that would not go through due to a crease in the paper in the wrong place. And they would set it on top, and they would just rescan the whole batch.
The two people who were attempting to, duplicate the whatever ballot, they couldn't read. They didn't know how to read. They were illiterate. So they were looking.
They had people who were supposed to duplicate ballots that were illiterate and couldn't read.
At the paper, just not knowing what to do. And then, their supervisor or whatever came over and just, told them, you got to do this, do that, like every step of the way. Because they were illiterate, they couldn't read, and they were in charge of the ballot, process.
Why would you put illiterate people in charge of the ballot processes?
Advise what was going to potentially decide a national election.
I thought public schools
that seemed pretty
illiteracy.
Scandalous to me.
And they would put them back in the whole stack. So now we have a batch of 50 again. And they would rescan them. Double counting.
Double count.
That would be double counting.
This is going to take forever to get through this, but pause that. Because I have to emphasize this. So many people are coming to me and they're saying, but Michelle, there's not enough fraud. This is what Leah and I do all day. We do the research, we do the digging. We aren't just watching videos, but this is a person who has signed affidavits. All right. They have seen these ballots. They were multiple scanned. This isn't just some pie in the sky testimony of some person that you've never heard of, yada, yada, yada.
This is what you don't understand. If
this
you
is what they're going to be
ballots several times.
Court.
Exactly. Yeah. You have to either throw it out or you have to redo them all.
That would be double counting. But I've seen numerous times them keep doing this.
So we're talking like triple.
Say, I would walk by and the machines would have a number, a ballot scanned, and the number should have never went over 50.
So what numbers were you seeing on these?
I was seeing around 400 to 500.
For a 50 batch?
So you're telling me that we had batches of ballots that were being counted, goodness, 9, 10 times.
Come on!
Just please say somebody has to be able to reach Tucker Carlson with this. Come on, y'all! Somebody in watching my show.
You're missing your thing. It's on the internet.
Sometimes.
Wow.
It's not hard. Hang on, Leah. They can't see it.
They were
it's not
saying
behind
that
you. That's what I'm saying. Hold
the
on.
poll book that these people were born on.
Hang on. Somebody's
Donald Trump. It's Uncle Jack again.
It can't be Uncle Jack. It better not be. We don't want SmartCast. We want our HDMI. Is it HDMI 3? Do we know? There it is.
Jeez. So we have a lot of 120-year-olds, which should factor well into.
Wait, let's go back.
In 1900.
10 times.
8 to 10 times.
Wow.
They were saying that in the poll book that these people were born in 1900. So we have a lot of 120-year-olds, which should factor well into a pure Michigan campaign because people live longer here than anywhere else in the world. We do have incidents of people saying that they came in person to vote, and then they found out that somebody had already voted for them.
And another point someone made yesterday, they chained those doors. That's a fire hazard. Because what if some kind of attack, what if something like chaotic broke out? Because it was an extremely contentious environment. And they should get sued for that.
And we had people that were blocked from even getting into the facility by the police that wouldn't be allowed into the facility. These were people that were going to be poll challengers for this. They refused to allow them access to it.
The ones that left to go get something to eat did not know they weren't going to be allowed back in. So half of our group left to go get something to eat and got stuck outside.
They literally covered up the walls so no one could see inside, and poll challengers were boxed out, allegedly, and stuff like that. I think that's when those ballots, and I even had heard murmurs that other ballots were brought in after the 3:30 a.m. though. But when those ballots were being processed, that's when the incredibly hostile operation where MDHHS and cops and poll workers were trying to disenfranchise the challengers.
To me, the way how they act, they were type of Antifa people.
Type of Antifa people.
So there are many people who are legal immigrants or something here, and it's very interesting that they are saying the same story, and they're not making up. Like, they're not sitting together and saying, you can tell, like, this guy is telling his story. I saw an Asian lady telling the story. The Indian lady's telling the same story. She's like, these people were acting weird. They were acting like Antifa. They were acting like Black Lives Matter people.
Right, exactly.
They put cardboard over the windows so nobody could look in.
Did you ever see the windows being covered up?
Yes.
Were you there when that happened? So they were using these steel boxes to keep the Republican poll challengers away from seeing what you were seeing with the tabulation machines.
Yes, and they used them as a barricade.
Their job wasn't protect Biden votes. Their job was intimidating me, made me feel like crap, made me feel like they're gonna, anytime I do whatever, they're gonna beat me up or something.
And they cheered when they
Don't pay attention to the subtitles. They're not accurate.
He said they made me feel like crud, and they made me feel like they were going to beat me up.
They were cheering when people were taken out.
So did you see any Democrats get ejected?
No, not a single one.
Okay.
When somebody got thrown out, the entire room applauded.
The whole worker told you, knowing you were affiliated with the Republican Party, that Biden deserves to win. You just don't get it.
And you just don't get it. As part of her apology. That came on as a part of her second part of the apology.
The most egregious was at the
part of an apology this guy got was Biden deserves to win. You just don't get it.
Adjudication tables. Lady at the adjudication table said, "I think that should go to the Democrat." I'm like, wait a minute, no. This is not right. I'm like, no, that cannot. I'm like, no. I said the person voted for both. And she's like, and she's talking to the other lady. She's like, yeah, I don't know. And she's sitting there like, I don't know. So I go get her supervisor. And her supervisor goes, I don't know. What do you think? And I'm like, I'm losing my mind. I'm like, oh my God. I was just furious. So I went to go get her supervisor. Now check this out. This is the guy that's overseeing the entire 10 p.m. to 5 a.m. absentee counting process. So he's over everything for this shit. Everything. I go get him. He does the same blanking thing. I said, why give it to the Democrat over the Republican? Well, why not give the Republican the vote? And he just turned at me and started screaming at me. And he just goes, don't talk to her, don't talk to her, don't talk to her. I'm like, I'm talking to her first and I got you. And I told him, I was like, you know what? I know you're tired. That's not my problem. You're not going to be nasty to me. And this is cheating. I'm like, no, this ballot should be thrown out. And I'm like, I'm challenging the ballot. And so that's when I said, I'm challenging the ballot. He's like, you challenge, you can do whatever you got to do. Nobody's stopping you. And I was like, well, hold on, I gotta get the information off the ballot. And he just started telling her to push it through. He's like, push it through, push it through. And I'm like, no, you can't do that. I'm challenging this ballot. I'm like, no, you can't do that. He's like, push it through, push it through. And I'm like, oh, get the information. He's like, push it through. And she just pushed the ballot.
There was a guy there that...
Pause right there. All right, now, if that story right there doesn't... She is not making that up. That's a legitimate, like, this is what happened to me.
There was a ballot that had both Trump and Biden circled in, and they were like, let's just give it to the Democrat. And the supervisor said, push it through. And before she could get the information on the ballot, it was pushed through and counted. All those ballots have to be thrown out in Michigan, in Detroit.
A mask. He had state of Michigan paperwork. And they went over to him and said, put your mask on. He said, I have paperwork right here. They said, we really don't give a shit. Whoever their security was picked the guy up and literally took him to the door and threw him out.
Interesting how they all stopped at the same time. So by midnight, they probably all knew what their targets were in regards to how many votes they had to drudge up.
The next thing was suspicious were the 30,000 ballots that showed up at 3 o'clock.
People had just been showing up with boxes of ballots that they had, there was no chain of custody.
Where do these ballots come from? Who verifies the signature on these ballots? That was just suspicious. So these ballots show up, and so I don't know what step they went to after that, but that was suspicious. But
Did you see them arrive?
Yes, it is. It was a big roll-up door.
Big roll-up door?
Yeah, like a big roll-up door, and a truck came and delivered them.
Did you feel that they tended to lean one way or the other in terms of slated candidates?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Would you like to tell us for which one?
Yeah, Biden. I did not see not a one ballot for Trump. Not one.
No Trump votes in all of these.
The whole time I was there, I did not see it.
When were you there?
I was there for 24 hours.
On election day.
Yes.
Come on.
I saw the boxes for myself, being unloaded.
Pause again. I'm sorry. I know we got to get
Here's
to this
the thing.
video.
These people,
this is so important.
their stories all line up.
This is so important, guys.
This is what
when Rudy comes out and he says, we have 1,000, some maybe 2 people that have signed affidavits that they consistently saw this kind of stuff. Yes, in Michigan, but in all
Pennsylvania,
the other,
and Pittsburgh, and Atlanta,
all the other states that we are addressing right now. And so when people are like, where's that evidence? I'm just losing faith. I don't know. It's already been a couple weeks now, and I just don't see any evidence. It must be over.
It's on the internet right here.
There are, when we have the sworn affidavits, when Rudy Giuliani and the team went to Pennsylvania, they said to the judge, we want to present this case. You know what the judge did? I don't need to see your evidence. We're not taking this case.
Right.
I don't want the evidence. I'm not looking at it. I don't need any more. Don't want the case. Done. So then they appeal and they go to a higher judge. But what I'm saying
expedited.
is they have not had an opportunity to present the evidence. Now, are you going to get to the fact that they are going to be doing these each state, I think in Pennsylvania and Michigan, I'm not sure about Wisconsin, Arizona, each state is going to hear within their state houses these arguments. Rudy Giuliani is going to be presenting evidence as if it was a trial.
Yes. This is what
this
you guys
stuff is going to come out.
Rudy Giuliani is 76 years old.
Man is on fire.
Okay? You need to pray for him to have Superman strength because his body may not be able to do what his mind can do, okay? You've got to pray for him. This is his last hurrah. If he's ever done anything in his life, this is his shining moment.
This man is going to go down in history as
one of the Americans who saved democracy, who saved our republic.
Yeah.
We are a republic. One republic, okay? Of this republic for which we stand, okay?
Right.
One nation under God.
Exactly. Keep going.
Noticing that it was the same exact signature, like a graph, up and down signature on every one of them, and
the same
then
daggum
I
signature.
leaned forward, like I took one step forward to see the date on the ballots. It said November 0 space, no digit there, comma 2010. Then I asked the supervisor, what is the date on that one? I don't see the second letter after 0. At which point he just moved the box away and he's like, we're doing our job, you're really disturbing us, kind of thing.
So
no, she had a job as well that she was supposed to be doing.
She saw the same exact signature on the ballots and with no date. Those ballots have to be tossed. See, if we had people looking at those ballots,
right.
That's why they don't want to audit them in Michigan. These people, why do you think they just put Biden out and with the little circles, okay? Because they had the swing states that they needed.
With bins full of votes.
Yep, 61.
Open top bins.
Yep.
61 boxes?
Yep, about 61. That's what we've got an affidavit on. 61 boxes.
About how many ballots would probably be in each box, roughly?
I think that works out if you put it into, you're going to test my math skills on this, but I think it's roughly around 600 ballots per bin.
Okay.
Wow. But there's absolutely no excuse for why all the ballots should have shown up at once, should have been dumped on us at once in the dead of night, when we could have been doing our jobs and processing them, slowly throughout the night, when there wouldn't be a potentiality for fraud. So, and then the next day, from what I was told, it got even worse.
It got even worse the next day.
So there was all the tabulation machines
connected to the
both
internet.
on the left-hand side and the right-hand side of the stage, depending on what you're looking at it, had blue cabling coming out of the tabulation machines into routers. The left side had a router, and the right side had a router.
They are going into those two routers. This could be our whole show. Just these testimonies right here. These machines are not allowed to be hooked up to the internet. Okay? Why were they hooked up to the internet?
Kind of diagrammed it that night when I was there.
Evidence.
So like an internet router like you used at home if you had Ethernet. Yes. Yeah, they. I don't know if it was a hub or a router. But it was definitely an electronic device that was on and receiving data in and out based upon the lights coming on and off. So you can see traffic.
Yeah.
So, and then those routers went into a computer stack on the stage that had another router hub device in it. Same behavior. And then from that router hub to a third router hub, there was a connectivity. And from that hub, we saw an Ethernet cable coming out of that into a socket in the wall, an Ethernet
Come on, guys.
Tab into the wall on one of the central columns just across from the stage. That particular Ethernet connection had a connection up to a Wi-Fi router or receiver or transmitter up closer to the ceiling. That was on. Lights were coming on and off on that. So from my experience working in the technology area for many years, that signaled to me that there was some kind of in and out data happening in that location.
And I said, David, is this connected to the internet? And he goes, no. I go, well, indications that they are connected, and I'd like to be able to verify that. And he says, no, you got to trust me. I go, all right, you may have been told a lie that they're not connected. I would like you to go off and verify it, and all you got to do is move that little cursor over that symbol, and it'll say connected to internet or not. And he says, you're just going to have to trust me. Well, David, if you're listening, I don't trust you. And the stakes are too high for this right now.
But I think all that happens.
Pause right there, because this is really important to me. We have a hero, in my words, in my opinion, in the chat on Facebook, Ralph Streen, producer and worked on Genesis, Paradise Lost. He says, I said back in 2012 that there was no way Obama won some of the districts that he won. Absolutely no one wanted to hear it. Thank God. Now in 2020, people are finally waking up. I couldn't understand how we were using voting machines in which no one knew where they came from. And they were double blind, as in no one could verify who voted for who. The first time I ever voted, I asked the lady at the booth and I said to her, well, why on earth would we vote this way? To which she said, had no response. It's just insane how stupid people have been regarding the election of the most important country in the world. Now there's no unseeing it, as Sidney put it. We all watched it in real time, how Trump went from a huge lead to a huge loss within hours. Ralph, thank you. Thank you for that.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I'm going to tell you something. This is what I've been telling a lot of my friends lately, because we all feel something in our gut. CNBC came out with a poll, mainstream media, that only 3% of people who voted for Trump believe that Biden won this. And I don't know where they found that 3%. Okay. That means nobody. And I'm telling you something, the mainstream media isn't putting all the facts out. And I guarantee a lot of people that I know who voted for Trump, they're not even on Twitter. They're not on YouTube. They just feel it inside in their guts. They just know that something isn't right. That Donald Trump got 10 million more votes this year than in 2016.
And that's according to the votes that are just
exactly.
not counting the extra ones that we know he got.
That is more votes than any presidential election in history. He blew it out of the water.
Right.
So the only way that Dementia Joe gets more, and I know a lot of people are like, I don't want the conspiracy Dominion stuff because I just want the ballot stuff. And here's the thing.
It doesn't matter what you want.
You don't understand. There's only one way. Here's the thing. For Joe to get more votes than Donald Trump,
than Obama, than Hillary,
the mail-in ballot fraud
in all of history.
The mail-in ballot fraud only happened in 5 of the Democrat city states, maybe 6 or 7, in these Democrat hubs. Yeah. That doesn't equal millions and millions of votes. Mm-hmm. Okay, the only way that Joe Biden gets this more votes, I think it was like 2 million more than Donald Trump. The only way he did that, by underperforming in the rest of the major cities, is to have the votes skimmed on a fractional basis from Donald Trump. So every time Donald Trump is going, it's skimmed off to Biden. Donald Trump skimmed off to Biden, which is what blew their mind. And I honestly think that they did not expect for Donald Trump to blow it out of the water to the point where they are not acting like they won.
They aren't.
They are not acting like they won legitimately.
It's like they're tiptoeing around, like, if we don't move, then the house of cards won't fall.
Guys, Michelle's had some dreams. We've had some visions. There's a lot of Christians out there who have dreams and visions. One of the dreams and visions she had was meeting up with a fellow warrior who had all these weapons. Okay, and they were going to take on the bad guys. And she knew it was going to have something to do with Donald Trump. Okay?
But I didn't know who the woman was.
She believes it's Sidney Powell. I believe it's the church.
I think it's probably a combination of
what
both.
you need to know as a Christian.
Yeah.
Is you have all the weapons you need to expose the darkness.
Right.
And what the left has done is given us a target. Because before, we just thought we were just two different people with two different political... You know, I like blue paint, you like yellow paint.
That's the difference between you and your Democrat neighbor. That is not the difference between you and the Democrat Party.
Exactly. They don't even know. 17% now. 17% of Biden voters would not have voted for him if they had known about the Hunter Biden laptop, 10% for the big guy.
And there was another list of if they had known all of the different things that Donald Trump had done.
Or Biden. Okay?
Yeah.
So if they knew that Kamala Harris was the most progressive senator on record, more progressive than Bernie Sanders, that takes away a chunk. I mean, the media is just as much to blame. It doesn't even need to be Dominion software.
Yeah.
Okay? Here's the thing. You can't cheat and go forward.
Yeah.
And the church has been sleeping. The church has been sleeping. We have all the tools. The kingdom of God has expanded. We are a billion member army worldwide.
Yeah.
There is no reason for us to lose. We have the gospel of Jesus Christ. And what we do have is we have these things, they're called spiritual gifts. And we're supposed to use them. We are words of wisdom, words of knowledge, gifts of tongues, gifts of healing, gifts of prophecy. We have weapons, the gifts of help. We have weapons. We have armor. We have the sword of the Spirit, which is actually able to pierce the dividing asunder of soul and spirit. Jesus came to bring justice. One major thing of justice is that, do you know it hurts God's heart when those babies in those wombs have their brains sucked out?
Oh my.
Donald Trump wants to stop babies from being ripped apart in the womb. Kamala Harris tried to put David Dandelion, I don't know how to say his name, Dandelion is what we're going to call his last name, I can never say it right, who exposed that Planned Parenthood was trafficking, making monies off of even aborting babies alive so they could get beating hearts off of these babies.
It's
and Kamala Harris prosecuted him. Now, we serve a God of justice.
We do.
Jesus wants to bring justice with mercy, but justice. We have the ability to do that as Christians.
Yeah.
We have men and women who laid down their lives to set up the best country ever in the entire world. We have a constitution that was birthed in the atmosphere, to quote a founding father. Mom, you need to tell me which one that is because I can never remember who it is. It was birthed in the atmosphere of Christianity. Okay? So God breathed the Constitution. They were men of God who... with their women around praying. Okay, this was just a man thing, right? Okay, most of these men writing their wives home, honey, I need help, pray for me, John Adams, you know? They were doing this as teams. These were teams. Like, the men and the husband and wife teams, you know, of the founding fathers is so powerful.
The real design of how God designed a marriage to be, it's unstoppable.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. And they had tons of these really strong couples. They were power couples. Okay. So anyways, with this, Christians, we have a moment. Okay. Because there's a lot of people who believe, it's kind of like, I hate to put it in the thing of Santa Claus. They kind of want to believe that Santa Claus is real. They want to believe that God is real.
Right.
We're engendered in, remember all the Christmas movies you watched. You know, at the very end, you see, ho, 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 and the kids are like, see, you just had to have childlike faith. Okay?
We don't generally do Santa, but I love the analogy. It's perfect. It's so good. It's so good.
So those adults that have that belief, okay, they get the miracles. And everybody else in the town that gets saved or whatever, and the Christmas tree thing gets to continue on or whatever, all the Hallmark movies, right? God is a Hallmark movie God. If you've read the Bible, you see happy endings, okay? God wants a happy ending for you and for your friends and family and for even the Democrats out there, okay? Who, when they know the truth, they're not Democrats and Republicans.
That's really good.
And so what you have to know is this. Christians, we're going to take this home.
We're taking it home. That's good.
We can do this. But but you're seeing with spiritual eyes. Mm-hmm. You're hearing with spiritual ears, and you got to get your ear to the track. Yeah. And you have to see what is God doing, because sometimes there's punishment on a nation. Sometimes God isn't showing up, and he's like, y'all on your own, or there's punishment or something like that.
This is not
that time. You know why? Because on the other side of the track is communism, the Great Reset, total everybody vaccinated, lockdowns. You know the beast. You know the enemy. He's coming out so you know what God's will is. So here's the thing. If you know what God's will is, you can pray what God's will is, and he will always answer the prayers that he asks you to pray according to his will. Christians, we're going to take this thing home. Now, I feel like God gave me a word. And here's the thing. I thought that the Democrats were just trying to play out the clock and then they would win. Right. This isn't how this works. We won. Donald Trump won. We are playing out the clock. If we don't leave this game, we win.
That's good.
And all the stuff that they're trying to do to trip us up and get us fighting against each other.
The only thing they keep talking about Donald Trump conceding. I can guarantee you that man is not going to concede a thing. They are wanting us to quit.
Right.
That's their only weapon.
When this stuff comes out in the courts, because
we have so much more to bring you guys tonight.
When this stuff comes out in the courts,
in the middle,
and actually the mainstream media has to report on it because they have to try to disprove it, but they can't. Okay, because it will literally be in court dockets. Okay, mouths will be permanently affixed to the floor, and you're going to have to help your neighbor. You're going to have to go, let me help you get that jaw up off the floor. Okay? This stuff is real. We have been doing, the CIA's been moving on governments and trying to overthrow Venezuela and the Philippines and all kinds of stuff. And they felt like they could take the system that they've used in other countries and they could do this to the American people.
Not on my watch. Not on your watch.
And what's very interesting is Donald Trump said 2014, or 2012, Obama cheated. Like, for real. Like, something isn't right here.
Right.
Like, and I didn't even vote for Romney, okay? So here's the thing. They pushed it too far. We didn't
vote for Obama either, but we did not vote for Romney.
I didn't vote for McCain. I didn't vote for Romney, okay? Okay, we're going to keep going.
Hang on, I want to show them real quick. If you're on Twitter or you're on Facebook, you're not seeing the thumbnail that I made for this show on YouTube here.
I love it. Oh my gosh.
I titled it "Light at the End of the Tunnel, Trump Train Picks Up Speed." All right. So take a good long look at that, because this Trump train is picking up daggum speed. It is going so fast. Leah and I literally throughout the day cannot keep up with all the stuff that is coming out, and we are trying our hardest to do that for you guys. So Leah, continue.
I think they need to be recounted. I think so, and I think it was just shady.
I feel like this election was stolen. I think there was a lies.
I feel like this election was stolen. I feel like there were lies.
Democrats prepared this, but they weren't prepared to cheat this election.
The Democrats were prepared to cheat this election.
Yep.
I feel that democracy in America is in danger.
It was the most crooked thing I have ever.
Isn't that so great when you got the Hispanic guy?
I know.
The democracy is in danger, man.
I know, I love it.
Come on, just as a lie. This election was stolen.
I keep wanting to do his accent.
Ever seen in my entire life, and
let me let her say her thing again, because she just says it's the most crooked thing she's ever seen in her entire life.
They weren't prepared to cheat this election. I feel that democracy in America is in danger.
It was the most crooked thing I have ever seen in my entire life, and I would swear to oath on it. It was not right.
Why did they do this?
I'm sure it wasn't in the interest of a free and fair election.
Are you confident that the number up on that screen is actually being sent to wherever the actual count, the combined count of all the different tabulators is taking place?
No.
Do you have any faith in Detroit's count?
No, I think probably, if we're going to be fair, I mean, I don't see how. You probably have to throw the entire election out. There's been so much fraud, and redo it if you wanted to have some sort of outcome that you can trust. I don't think anyone can trust any outcome at this point with this rampant fraud And this is an assault on not just our democracy, but on our constitutional republic itself.
As the youngest member of the Senate, the one therefore who may expect the longest career there, I wonder if you'd say to us, since it's clear that you're not corrupt and you got elected, why should people think that the system produces corrupt results when there you are?
Well, I'm not sure you should assume I'm not corrupt, but thank you for that.
See, and here's the deal. Biden has been incriminating himself with his own words.
He tells the truth a lot.
He
lies a lot, but he kind of tells the truth a lot.
I want to read one more comment here from Ralph. And before I do, if you guys have not seen, and it's really important to me, this film is so moving and so powerful. Here, let me screen share this website. So you can go to genesismovie.com. Ralph says, I'll say one more thing. Look down the ballot. How did we win back all those seats in the House? Pick up more state legislators, get 10 million more votes for Trump than in 2016 when he won, and yet still somehow lose the presidential race. Impossible. Right. Unless, of course, tons of ballots were processed that only had the presidential box checked for Joe with nothing else checked down the ballot. It turns out, according to testimony of witnesses, that's exactly what happened in 150,000 plus dump at 4 a.m. in which nearly 100% of the votes were for Biden. It happened everywhere. This election makes zero sense when you look at the numbers.
Absolutely.
God bless you, ladies. Fight the fight for the sake of the babies. I'm a proud single issue voter, and the good news about Trump is that he's done many things we can be thankful for. Perhaps his biggest gift will be the exposing decades of election fraud.
Absolutely. All right, so let's go over some more proof here. All
well
right,
said, Ralph. Thank you.
So confirmed, Georgia Secretary of State Brad Raffensperger used Dominion's Eric Coomer, Mr. Antifa guy, who said, don't worry, I'll make sure that Trump isn't elected, and it was caught in the Antifa chat rooms. And that was a One America news report that you can see from Ryan, how do you say her name? Chanel. Oh, yeah, Chanel. Chanel Ryan. All right, so Georgia Secretary of State Brad Raffensperger used Eric Coomer as a witness for the state to defend last-minute computer changes. Now, there's a lot coming out with Raffensperger and Kemp getting kickbacks for the Dominion software system going through. Okay, so Dr. Eric Coomer is responsible for the strategy and security at Dominion voting systems. How is it that we don't vet these people who are in control of the software of our systems? How come is that we don't look at their Facebook? It's on his Facebook how much he hates Trump. Okay?
No, but here's the deal. You're saying how come we don't vet them?
The DOJ.
And honestly, we do. And they're the ones that quote unquote these government operatives do want. They have chosen them specifically for this.
Eric Coomer has been removed from their page of directors. Why not other people removed?
Well, there were a lot of people removed.
Okay, remember, he is a Trump-hating Antifa sociopath, okay? Denver business owner Dominion's Eric Coomer is an unhinged sociopath. His internet profile is being deleted and erased. In 2010, Eric Coomer joined Dominion as vice president of U.S. engineering, according to his bio. Coomer graduated from the University of California, Berkeley, with a PhD in nuclear physics. Eric Coomer was later promoted to voting system officer in strategy and security at Dominion. It has since been removed. And then Gateway Pundit's interview with Denver native Joe Altman, Eric Coomer's presence is being scrubbed from the internet, but you can still find screenshots of Eric Coomer and his
we showed
craziness.
A video of him last night. Now, shameless plug for yesterday. I did an episode that I kind of think was pretty awesome about Sidney Powell. It's kind of like Bible studies with Michelle. If you're new, a lot of people like them. It was really, really, I felt the power of God was all over it. So watch that. The next thing you need to watch is Leah came down and we were showing some stuff. She accidentally doxed a friend with trying to show you guys a text. So we had to shut the stream down, fix that, edit it. We came back and did an amazing show. You were covering the 12 different top things that are happening right now, right? It got shut down because our power went out. So what Leah did is she held her cell phone light up, and I got my cell phone, and we went live on data on YouTube, and we did the most hilarious thing. I relabeled it Ghost Story Elections or something like that. Patriot Gallery, our mom, watched it back today when she was streaming it live to our Resistance Chicks channel on YouTube. because we had done it on our Mass Faith 3 channel, what you're watching on YouTube right now, last night. So she's streaming it this afternoon, and Leah goes in at the last 6 minutes, and she kind of shoves Leah out, and she's like, wait, there's only 6 minutes left. This is hilarious. So if you want a good laugh.
Dominion ghost story, pretty much.
Dominion ghost stories.
Two Bernie Sanders have been investigating Dominion for years. Now, just this is from Eric Coomer's Facebook post, just to give you an idea who he is, okay? This guy did a last-minute software update in Georgia, to Georgia's voting systems. Okay, it was actually supposed to be checked, but he said, "Don't worry, Dobson." Okay, from the Jurassic Park. Don't worry, I'm just real quick, right? Nothing to see here, right? If you are planning to vote for the autocratic, narcissistic fascist, blankety-blank blowhard and his Christian jihadist VP pick, unfriend me now. No, I'm not joking. I'm all for reasoned political discourse and healthy debate. I'm looking at you, 3 names of friends. I disagree with you 3 on many philosophical grounds, but respect your opinions. Only the absolute blankety idiot could ever vote for the windbag blankety blank racist blankety blank no blankety blank.
There's a lot of F-bombs in there.
I don't give it blankety blank if your friend, family, or random acquaintance pull the lever, mark an oval, touch a screen for that carnival barker, unfriend me now. I have no desire whatsoever to even interact with you. You are beyond hope, beyond reason. You are controlled by fear, reaction, and blankety blank. Get your blank together now. And that guy is in charge of security for Dominion freaking systems.
No, hang on. You just said freaking. You got all excited there.
Yes, I did.
The family-friendly show.
I did. All right, so Eric Coomer told the Illinois State Board of Elections that it was possible to bypass election system software during the vote counting process. And then
we showed this last night. Not only is it possible, but he walks you through how to do it. Why? Because it's not a glitch. It's a feature.
And in 2017, Eric Coomer explained how to alter votes in the Dominion voting system in a Chicago demonstration.
Yeah.
This is this other demonstration. This is one we showed last night. Okay, and then here is the video on Rumble. Earlier today, Jim Hoft of the Gateway Pundit reported on Eric Coomer's work in Georgia. According to reports, in late September, Dominion's radical leftist Eric Coomer made a critical software change.
You meant criminal. Go ahead.
To Georgia's Dominion voting systems without adequate testing or certification from the U.S. Election Assistance Commission. This was reported by the Atlantic Journal-Constitution. In Georgia, during late September, Dominion's radical leftist Eric Coomer made these critical software changes to Georgia's Dominion voting machines. And he said the software, and I quote, upgrade is being made without adequate, the journal says, the software is being made without adequate security testing or certification. But Coomer said the change is minor and doesn't require recertification. Remember, Jurassic Park, nothing to see here. We're going to let all the dinos go. All the dinos are just going to go boop, 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 boop. What'd you do? This is what you did. You little stinker.
They did it.
Good news. Trump team tweeted this out. Pennsylvania, Michigan, Arizona announced election fraud hearings.
That's what I was referring to earlier.
Great news.
This is a really big deal.
The 3 swing states used dubious and illegal techniques to steal 2020 election from President Donald Trump. In Pennsylvania, Trump was ahead by nearly 700,000 votes, and then I don't want to go over that.
Actually, we didn't go to bed. I think we were just we just stayed up, and I'm refreshing that election thing. I don't know how many times I refreshed it. And then it wasn't until the next day I realized this is the Associated Press and they're lying.
Right. 3 state legislators will hold hearings on election fraud after all 3 states came under fire. You guys, call state legislators in Georgia.
This is
vital.
Call
state legislators in, if you guys want to do something, call them in Arizona, call them in Wisconsin, call them in Michigan, call them in Pennsylvania.
When we talked to Thomas Massey this past year
he said telephone calls were the biggest.
He said that as a representative, telephone calls are, because he said we usually get maybe 1 a day.
We're talking about state legislators here, senators and House representatives at the state level.
Yes.
So, let's see. Donald Trump, for president legal team today, announced that the state legislators of Pennsylvania, Arizona, and Michigan, where there was a little glitch today that gave me a little glimmer of hope, but no big deal. 6,000 votes were miscounted extra for Biden, but it still is at the 10,000 margin.
Now, hang on 1 second, because you came into me and you were really excited about it because you thought it was official, 6,000, and then you were kind of whatever. Here's the deal. This is not the first time in the past 2 weeks or however long it's been since the election, almost 3 now. No, it's been, that they have done that in these like recounts and stuff. They're catching that somehow even in the recount they are still trying to give these extra thousands of votes to Biden. So it actually is a win that it's found, even if it doesn't change the current election results. Carry on.
Exactly. All right. So they will hold public hearings on the election beginning tomorrow and next week in an effort to provide confidence that all of the legal votes have been counted and illegal votes have not been counted. The first hearing held by the Pennsylvania State Senate will be conducted tomorrow, Wednesday, November 25th in Gettysburg, PA. I believe Ollie's going there with a bunch of people.
Awesome.
Gettysburg. Spiritual significance there.
Yeah.
Where each participating senator will give a 5-minute opening statement, following by testimony from witnesses who have filed affidavits attesting to 2020 election fraud. Tomorrow's hearing will also feature a presentation by former New York City Mayor Rudy Giuliani. Okay, that was my...
That was good.
Boxing announcement. On Monday, November 30th, the Arizona legislature will hold their own hearing, followed by Michigan legislature holding their hearing on Tuesday, December 1st. Details for both hearings to follow. It's in everyone's interest to have full vetting of election irregularities and fraud, said Mayor Giuliani. And the only way to do this is with public hearings complete with witnesses, videos, pictures, and other evidence of illegalities.
From the November 3rd election. I'm so excited. Now, here's the deal.
I believe it's actually going to be streamed.
What
are we going to do?
Well, and that's what I was just getting at. If it is streamed,
what are we going to do?
It will be. I don't know that we can sit here and stream it if it's going to be like a 6-hour Amy Coney Barrett hearing kind of deal. But if it is going to be a long one, we'll bring you the summary.
All right. Former Illinois Governor Rod Blagojevich, can never say his name. He was on Newsmax again today on Tuesday. I'm going to play for you his little segment here, along with Leo.
Called on the now sideline attorney Sidney Powell to back up her claims of widespread voter fraud, and then yesterday. But Governor Blagojevich, do you agree it's still early in the process?
Blagojevich.
Well, yes, I do. Not only do I agree with Leo that we're both behind the president, I'm behind we the people. President Trump has a constitutional duty to ensure that there is election integrity in our voting systems. The evidence is overwhelming. I should say the allegations of the wrongdoing is overwhelming. In places like Pennsylvania, Michigan, in the big cities where Democrats control everything. Having been a Democratic governor, a congressman from Chicago, I know how they operate. The evidence will be there. They're going to find it because of the statistical anomalies in the case, as well as the unlikelihood that...
I'll tell you, this is news to you.
Oh.
Millie Weaver,
love her,
says she has a whistleblower who wants immunity.
What?
A whistleblower who wants immunity.
Please, it can't be.
Millie doesn't pull things like that. She has a whistleblower who wants immunity.
What? That means that they were in on it.
Right.
This is an insider.
You know there had to be one or two to flip.
Yes.
Well, and that one woman in Detroit, she said that she was told to backdate ballots.
Right. Guys, we know Millie. She's a friend of ours. I would call her an acquaintance-ish friend. Okay? But if she said she's got a whistleblower that wants immunity, she has a whistleblower that wants immunity.
The improbability that you can be ahead by 800,000 votes in Pennsylvania, or a little bit less than that, with 63% of the vote in, and then somehow you lose. Those things are all valid allegations that are being put out there. It will be a long road in the sense that there will be hurdles the Trump campaign will have to overcome. He's inevitably and not unexpectedly going to lose at the local levels in those states where Democrats control everything, or where you have Obama-appointed judges. The path for President Trump is that he has to navigate through those thickets and get his case before the United States Supreme Court. That's where I believe he'll prevail on the constitutional issues, equal protection, and due process.
Now, Leo, when you look at this
I'm going to kind of go a little bit past. Leo's great, but we just only have so much time here.
Leo is great. I love him so much.
And they'll be putting their reputations and their careers on the line when they actually sign those legal pleadings. So there's still time to do it, and it would be wrong, I think, for them to be fighting this case exclusively in the court of public opinion. They've got to be very...
Rush Limbaugh, where's the evidence? Where's this? You don't understand. Judges, he just said this before that, judges do not look kindly upon cases that have been tried first
in the public
opinion. What that does is the more information that's out in the public, the weaker that testimony is.
Yeah.
The more information that's held back and is only presented in court, the stronger it is. So when you ask Sidney Powell or Rudy Giuliani for your evidence before court, you're saying, I want your case to be weaker so that I can have my feelings feel better.
So why do you think that the left are asking for this evidence ahead of time?
Right.
Okay.
This is not a Q thing. This is legal procedure. Judges say, they throw things out if it's too muddied in the public opinion.
Look at Michael Avenatti. He was putting all of his cards out on the table because he wanted to win in the court of public opinion, and that was the only thing that mattered. He was not a real lawyer. A real lawyer looking after the interest of their client will do exactly what Rudy Giuliani, Jenna Ellis, and Sidney Powell are doing.
Exactly.
To the courts and respectful to the court process.
Real lawyers.
And then there's another practical problem, which is if they show their cards too soon, the corporate media that's in a conspiracy to destroy President Trump and destroy his presidency, they're trying to ratify what is, in my belief, a corrupt election. They're going to be all over the place trying to take away the arguments that Trump's people have and the witnesses that they have and the evidence that they have.
Try to get to the witnesses before they get to court.
For the Trump legal team to be doing too much of this publicly, I think they're playing it right. And again, the end game is you got to get this to the Supreme Court.
Leo, I have made the best apple pie with some secret ingredients, and I'm going to take it to the state fair.
Come on now.
And you want to taste it first. Why? So you can steal my ingredients? So you can steal my pie? You want me to open up my pie? How am I going to present my pie to the state fair with the piece taken out of it?
They don't want to taste your pie. They want your recipe. That's what they're asking for. We want your recipe so that we can duplicate it.
Yeah, exactly.
And what's more, so that they can go to every grocery store in the world and take all of your ingredients so you don't have them to make your pie.
Right. This is just a little joke for the day. After lecturing Trump supporters on masks, John Karl caught taking off his mask in the White House press briefing room when he thinks the cameras are off.
Oh my gosh.
So Donald Trump had a thing today reacting to the stock market going up 30,000, it's passing 30,000. It was actually a record high. Apparently, John Karl, who is he's a journalist, thinks it's okay to remove his mask when the cameras are off. And I probably need to hook myself up because my internet's been going awful slow. Wonder why that is.
Peter says they have to disclose no court case can move without it.
I love how ads can keep. I love how ads can play. But
he says except for disclosure, the other side already know, and they can counter moves in public leaks.
And cameras are off. Boom. Boom, boom, boom. Done. Whew. So glad I can breathe. Oh, yeah. Cameras off. Boom, boom, boom. I hate these masks. I only do them so that I can look good. Little cheaters. Bill de Blasio in New York is setting up COVID checkpoints to find New York City travelers violating Thanksgiving quarantine. And if you didn't know this, Governor Cuomo is going to have his 89-year-old grandmother and his daughters coming over, but he's telling you to stay at home. Okay, these guys are kings. These COVID checkpoints. Zero Hedge reports that test and trace teams will also be on the ground to help direct people to testing sites while providing education about, quote, quarantine. New York State's statewide 14-day holiday quarantine mandates that travelers quarantine or take a test showing they're negative. Violations of self-quarantine will be enforced, carrying fines of $1,000 to $2,000. You know who that's going to hurt the worst? There will be mandatory contact tracing at airports. New York City Councilman Mark Levine, who has been urging people not to travel or celebrate the holiday, said in a tweet that lines for COVID tests in New York City today are breaking records. They're as long as 7 hours just to get yourself out of New York City.
Wow. I wish these people could have left earlier. Oh, this
was funny. Time to make One American News and Newsmax rich. Fox is dead to me. President Trump retweets Randy Quaid's Fox News clip, and it is pure insanity. I feel like it's a bit too much for me, a little over the top.
I have not seen this.
But
he's Randy.
Yeah. It was so funny because it feels like
Trump must be a fan because he also tweeted out Randy Quaid today, just a regular tweet.
What do you mean Twitter refused to connect? What do you mean Twitter refused to connect?
Try again.
Here's Donald Trump.
Annual tradition, the official presidential pardon of a very, very fortunate turkey. It is my honor to present to you this year's lucky bird, corn, and just in case we needed him, Cobb. For the past 73 years, the National Turkey Federation has presented the National Thanksgiving Turkey to the President. These birds have received a formal pardon every single year. Every American can be united in thanksgiving to God for the incredible gifts He has bestowed upon us, the blessings of family, community, and this exceptional, beautiful, and great country. On behalf of the entire Trump family, I want to wish every American a healthy and very happy Thanksgiving.
He's so fun. Full pardon. Full pardon, turkey. Turkey, full pardon.
That's so good. That's
oh my gosh. And you know what's so cool about Trump is that like he is still able to have a good sense of humor through all of this, even though they're trying to steal an election.
And we hope and we know that's going to happen, that Corn and Cobb have a very long, happy, and memorable life. This year, our nation commemorates the 400th anniversary of the Pilgrims landing on Plymouth Rock. After arriving in the New World, the brave men and women of the Mayflower endured a bitter and dangerous winter, very, very dangerous winter. Many were sick, most were starving, and all were praying for a miracle. Thankfully, God heard their prayers.
Yes. He did, baby.
From our earliest days, America has always been a story of perseverance and triumph, determination and strength, loyalty and faith. This week, in a time that is very unusual, but in so many ways, very, very good. What we've endured and been able to endure with the vaccines now coming out one after another. It's an incredible thing that happened. One of the greatest medical achievements that this planet has ever seen. But it's time to remember that we live in a great, great country, the greatest of them all. And there's nothing even close as far as I'm concerned. Every American can be united in thanksgiving to God for the incredible gifts He has bestowed upon us, the blessings of family, community, and this exceptional, beautiful, and great country. It's greater than ever before. During this Thanksgiving, we extend our eternal gratitude to the doctors, nurses, healthcare workers, and scientists who have waged the battle against the China virus. And we give thanks for the vaccines and therapies that will soon end the pandemic. It shouldn't go away from that. America first. We give thanks to the priceless freedoms that we've inherited, and we ask God to watch over and protect our nation and its people during this incredible holiday and in all of the years to come. We ask that of God. Once again, Melania and I wish to thank everybody for your incredible courtesies and also wish you a happy Thanksgiving. And now it's time for the moment of our guest of honor. They've been waiting, and in this case, he's been waiting for this. And bring him out. Look at that beautiful, beautiful bird. Oh, so lucky. That is a lucky bird.
This is so great. I love my president. Look at Melania clapping.
Corn, I hereby grant you a full pardon. Thank you, Corn.
Oh my gosh, I love my life. Oh. He's petting the turkey.
Oh, that's what you are? Iowa Farm.
Ohio Farm?
Iowa.
Oh, Iowa.
Beautiful. Happy Thanksgiving to everybody. Thank you very much.
So you don't know, maybe you just join us. We're kind of like homesteaders. We butcher chickens, and we have a friend who usually raises out. She's a little, like, small little farmer girl, like weighs like 100 pounds. But she raises out turkeys usually every year, and we help her butcher these giant turkeys. And it's not exactly easy. And their wings, little known fact,
they flap, they will beat the heck out of you.
They can beat you up. They can harm you. Like they don't mean to. They're not mean. But their wings are so powerful that they can give you a black eye.
If someone was coming to take you to the kill cone.
All right, this is an affidavit that's being Lynn Wood has filed tonight. This is an affidavit of Russell James Ramsland Jr.
I actually was okay. Hang on, I got a question for you.
Yeah,
I was reading that earlier today. It's really long. Do you have highlights?
No. You want to tell us about it?
Let's go over it, and then we can do the highlights. Let me look at it. It's 9 pages long. We cannot sit here and read the whole thing to you guys. All right. So this man is from Dallas County in Texas. Okay. He is he's part of the management team of Allied Security Operations Group. The ASOG provides a range of security. You went too far.
Logs.
Okay,
November 28th. The ASOG
I wanted to give him a backstory. Go ahead.
Analyzed audit logs for the central tabulation server of ES&S, the election management systems for Dallas, Texas, the general election in 2018. Their team was surprised at the enormous number of error message that should not have been there. They numbered in the thousands, and the operator ignored and overrode them.
Yeah.
Okay? This led to various legal challenges in that election. Okay? As a result, ASOG initiated an 18-month study into the major EMS, the electronic management system providers in the United States, among them, which is Dominion and Premier, that provides the EMS services in Michigan. We did thorough background research of the literature and discovered there is quite a history from both Democrat and Republican stakeholders in this vulnerability of Dominion. The state of Texas rejected Dominion. Okay? Next, they began to do a pen testing into the vulnerabilities described in their literature and confirmed that in many cases, the vulnerabilities already identified totally left open, even though they said you need to fix this, okay? They also noticed a striking similarity between the approach to the software and EMS systems with the ES&S and the Dominion Premier, okay? So this was logical since they shared common ancestry with the Diebold voting system that defunct no good, okay? Past 3 decades, almost all the states have shifted from low technology, what we have, paper ballot, rolling it through to these high technology, this hardware.
And the private companies are supplying this hardware and the software for all of this really sensitive stuff, voter records and ballots and stuff like that.
On the front end, the vulnerabilities are where the Americans cast their votes. And on the back end, where they're stored, tabulated, little SD cards, little thumb drives.
Exactly.
Jay Sekulow was holding the thumb drive. Like, your whole life is like on here. What's the chain of custody on these thumb drives? Okay. All right. So Dominion Premier is a privately held U.S. company that provides election technologies and services to government and jurisdictions. Now, I believe that they're Canadian. I don't know why they're saying they're American, but whatever. We're going to go with it. So they have both Dominion Premier has systems have both options to be electronic, paperless voting system with no permanent record.
Right.
No permanent record of the voters' choices, or a paper ballot, which would print out. Okay, so you could do an audit, right? So Dominion and Premier Election System Central Accumulator does not include a protected real-time audit log that maintains the date and timestamps of all significant election events. Key components of the system utilize unprotected logs. This would allow an attacker the opportunity to arbitrarily add, modify,
and remove log entries.
Drop and paste. That's delete.
Next
right?
paragraph.
Okay, I got it.
No, I know. I'm just letting you know. I read ahead. You can skip it. I'm helping.
So his colleagues and those at the ASOG studied the information that is publicly available about this election, based on significant anomalies and red flags that they observed. This is a guy who actually did an audit, 18-month study of the 2018 election, and has already provided vulnerabilities of the last election.
Right.
We believe there is a significant probability that election results have been manipulated within Dominion Premier's system. Dr. Andrew Appeal, Princeton professor of computer science and election security expert, has observed. Okay, this is Dr. Andrew Appeal. He says this: I figured out how to make a slightly different computer program that just before the polls were closed, it switches some votes around from one candidate to another. I wrote that computer program into a memory chip, and now to hack a voting machine, all you need is 7 minutes alone with it and a screwdriver.
Okay, so through an analysis conducted, they finally discovered here are the things that they know for certain, as before it was impossible to know.
So we know about the 6,000 votes switched, and that same system is used in 47 counties.
Now I can sum this paragraph up really well. So they're talking about the over votes, okay, where they actually exceed not only the voter rolls or the projected people that would go and vote, which is usually 80%. Is high. These we have on this list here 350%, 144, 138.
Let's go back. There's 3,276 precincts where the presidential votes cast compared to the estimated voters based on reported statistics range from 84% to 350%,
well above the top of what would be a kind of normal, really, really high turnout of 80%.
So that would be that's over 400,000 excess ballots.
So down this list, these are just some examples of some counties here. We got 350, 144, 138, 138, these are 104, 102. These ones are 101, 101, 101.
So what this suggests is, okay, there's too many counties that have an overvote, which means 100% of the people showed up, and then extra people showed up.
Right.
Okay? Now,
which nobody
gets 100% people. Now, what this pattern strongly suggests, because this is a pattern.
Yeah.
Strongly suggests that the additive algorithm, a feature enhancement referred to as ranked choice voting algorithm, or the RCV, was activated in the code as shown in the Democracy Suite EMS results tally and reporting user guide. You can do this with these machines.
Right.
Okay? The RCV method, this will select the specific method of tabulating the RCV votes to select a winner. And we showed you a video where some guy was showing, he went to a college, and he went to Michigan State, and he said, vote for your favorite college, Ohio State or Michigan. Mm-hmm. And then it came through, and he wanted to show how he could just manually change these voting machines to try to get people to recognize how easy it was to hack.
So what happens next is the operator is allowed to enter an allocation and make these write-in ballots. Just say, okay, this was a write-in ballot, and we're going to go in and we're going to make changes. Okay, so the final result is awarded. It awards the winner a point instead of an actual whole number. So as we move on down here, you will see in Michigan, you'll see these points. We have 0.534 for Trump. That whole list says that. And 0.448 for Biden. And so he goes on to say, we know that the point system was used because those should be whole numbers. Mm-hmm. Nobody's vote should be divided. That's like saying you have 2.5 kids. You don't have 2.5 kids. We've got a family and we number their children and then make a division. That means we're giving points out, but it does not work that way with a vote. It should not be that way.
And then, right at about 83% of precincts reported,
right,
Trump was winning between 55 to 60% of every turnout point.
Yep.
Okay? Then, after the counting was closed at 2 a.m., the situation dramatically reversed itself, starting with a series of impossible spikes shortly after counting was supposed to have stopped.
Right.
The several spikes cast solely for Biden could easily be produced in the Dominion system by preloading batches of blank ballots in files such as write-ins, then casting them all for Biden using the override procedure that is available in the operating system. Now, there's no oversight of these people in and out with the little thumb drives. They don't have people saying, what are you doing, following you. They actually had Dominion staff themselves working the machines.
Right.
Now, Eric Coomer was head of security. Don't you think that he had another friend in the report, a woman who was also anti-Trumper, I believe was part of Antifa, who was part of Dominion. If you have like a handful of those guys in a couple little precincts, okay,
and the important ones.
And it's the specific precincts that had the big drops.
Yes.
Okay. This is a criminal investigation that the DOJ needs to be like, what Dominion people were at these. Who were they? I need to interview you.
I love Clarence here on YouTube says, God doesn't lie, God wins.
What does your social media look like?
Yeah.
Okay, let me see it. Okay,
they check your social media if you're going to be a teacher, if you're going to be a a garbage man. I mean, you can't put anything on your social media anymore.
Right, exactly. So the Dominion has a blank ballot override function. I mean, why would they do that? Essentially, a save for later bucket that can be manually populated later. Then the final red flag is perhaps the greatest. Something occurred in Michigan that is physically impossible. We talk about this all the time. Indicating the results had to be manipulated on election night. The event as reflected in the data are the 4 spikes totaling 384,733.
I gotta say though, these people were stupid. Because even if I was in charge of this, I would be like, we have to mess these numbers up a little bit.
A 1 minute mile. That's what it's like.
No, exactly.
That's like saying I ran a 1 minute mile.
Right. But I'm going to tell you something. I believe that the reason why these numbers are all the same, read the number again, 300 and some odd thousand, what is it?
384,733.
That exact same number was entered in 4 times because they couldn't alter the number. They were just like, we need these votes, just do it.
Now, recognize this. Recognize this. These 4 spikes totaling that number were allegedly processed in 2 hours and 38 minutes.
Physically impossible.
That is impossible because given the equipment available at the 4 reference locations, the precincts and townships, they looked at for processing these ballots and cross-referencing that with both the time it took at each location and the performance specifications they obtained from the serial numbers of the scanning devices. So how many could you even possibly do? Okay.
Right.
So
like, even if you had like robots doing it, like
so they could only do 60 a minute, and that's without any paper jams or replacement cover sheets or loading time. So they can assume 2,000 ballots an hour in field conditions, which is probably generous. This calculation actually yields 94,868 ballots as the maximum number of ballots that could be processed. Okay, John James won that election. And while it should be noted that in the event of a jam and the counter is not reset, the ballots can be run through again and duplicated. Now, what happened in their testimony we just saw with the Michigan woman? She said they had one that jammed and they ran it through the whole stack and they counted the whole stack again. So what they saw as a paper jam was an opportunity to run them again. And count them again, and count them again, and count them again.
Not recount them.
No.
Okay.
Count them
additionally.
Again. Okay. This would not alleviate the impossibility of this event because duplicated ballots still require processing time. The existence of the spike is strongly indicative of a manual adjustment, either by the operator of the system. So this huge spike, and this is what I have to tell Tucker Carlson, this is an impossibility. You can't even fake the votes with that spike.
Yep.
The ballots, there's not enough ballots to fake it. It has to be a computer system change, okay? Of a manual adjustment, either by the operator of the system or by an attack from outside actors. In any event, there were more than 289,866 more ballots processed in the time available for the processing than they actually had capacity. That's it. We're done. We're done. We're done. Look at the graph below and you can see this makes clear this is not surprising because the system is highly vulnerable to manual change in the ballot totals as observed. So at his company, ASOG, we believe that these statistical anomalies and impossibilities together create a wholly unacceptable level of doubt as to the validity of the vote count in Michigan, Wayne County in particular. If ASOG or any other team of experts with the equivalent qualifications and experience could be permitted to analyze the raw data produced during the course of the election, as well as audit the logs that the Dominion system generates, we would likely be able to determine whether or not any fraudulent manipulation of election results. They could figure it out, right?
Right.
However, There are several deficiencies with the Dominion audit logs, okay? Because the logs are voluntary logs. They do not enforce logging of all actions, and the logs can be altered by the people who are operating the systems. The logs are not synchronized. Because of these deficiencies, it is of critical importance that all of the daily full records of raw data be produced every step of the election process, okay? So Wayne County uses a Dominion equipment, where 46 out of 47 precincts display a highly unlikely 96% as the number of votes cast using the Secretary of State's number of voters in the precinct. This is impossible. 46 out of 47 have 100 or over 96% people showing up. They had to keep it right at the one. Now, remember, then we looked at the other counties that are above. You guys, this is impossible.
But I'm going to tell you something, though. Same-day voters do not account for...
Same-day registration.
Excuse me, same-day registration. Exactly. Do not account
Does Michigan
for
have that? Because Wisconsin does, but I don't know if Michigan does. This pattern strongly suggests both the additive algorithm. This is the stuff that Sidney Powell is talking about. This is the hammer and sickle, okay?
Hammer and scorecard.
Hammer and scorecard by the hammer and sickle communists. That is a Freudian slip, right? Okay.
Man, that's so good.
Hammer and scorecard. Guys, why can't is Tucker Carlson as dense as his bow tie? As his stack of hair on his head? No, because this is legit. This is more legit concrete than what Dr. Epstein, the little Google guy, has ever shown any of us.
Right. Well, and here's something that's really important to note, though. We are addressing these exact same types of issues in all of these other states, but if it's this blatant in Michigan and we throw out Michigan, then it's almost like you have to reassess and that's why Jay Sekulow and I think Team Trump are looking to have the states, for it to go to the states, for each state to send one representative to vote, and then in that case the Republicans would win.
It really kind of hurts my brain because a lot of people, even Jack Posobiec, are like, well, we don't want those crazy conspiracy theories like the Dominion stuff because that takes longer to figure out, and we just want to go with the okay, there is enough proof with the ballot stuffing of the boxes.
Yeah.
Okay? But you will not smash it until unless this is presented.
Exactly.
This has to go before the Supreme Court. Because this
has been presented, though. This is an affidavit, at least.
Yeah.
It's going to be presented.
Yeah. So, let's see. This pattern strongly suggests both the additive algorithm was activated in the code as discussed in paragraph 11, as well as batch processing of blank votes. Right. So it was both. Okay? It was both. In order to analyze...
this isn't just Dominion stuff, though. This is them using the Dominion software to also fraudulently tally up manual ballots.
Right. In order to analyze the data and determine the cause of these anomalies, ASOG would need administrator logs for the EMS election event designer and the reports tally and the reporting client applications. So then he goes on to say, this is what we need to see. This is a legit affidavit, by the way.
Right.
Okay.
Now, are you sure it's not? Because this case, it has a case number, and at the top, I'm pretty sure it said Wood versus something. And it should be on the
In order
page.
to evaluate the raw data of the election, the following records would need to be required from Dominion, and he goes on to talk about these things. They need.
It's a request for a subpoena. So what this is I know what this is. This is the proof for the request for a subpoena to get in even further.
So Lynn Wood has announced the Kraken will be released tomorrow in Georgia. Lynn Wood had said, I have worked closely with Sidney Powell and others over the recent weeks. The lawsuit Sidney will be filing tomorrow in Georgia speaks truth. Enemies of America will deny its allegations. Do not believe them. Believe Sidney and me. We love America and our freedom. Our enemies do not.
Thank you, Lynn.
He says, real Donald Trump is a truth giver. When President Trump speaks, listen carefully, very carefully. Pray for our country. And our president, pray for all. And one thing's mom pointed out, and I don't like to throw out conspiracies because I don't want to throw you guys off, but Sidney Powell was born in Durham, North Carolina. And at one point, Trump had said something about Durham, and it might have been something to say Durham's going to do something, and that might have been a Sidney Powell thing, but I don't know about that. So I just started following Patrick Byrne, and he is the former CEO Overstock.
Oh.
And he's a really smart guy.
Okay.
And he did an interview. Let me see if I can find. I don't know if I exactly.
Okay, hang on. Because what is that?
Sidney Powell's true identity.
Who did that? Come on.
So.
Dude, I'm telling you. Telling you, this woman. I love her so much. I want to be friends with Sidney. But I don't want to take up her time because she's got too much to do. Friendships take time.
Where's my interview I have with him?
Oh my gosh.
Dissecting the steel. I might have it up over here. Let me see. That was Ollie. Ollie is doing a Stop the Steal, and he go follow Ollie on just ALI Ollie Scopes on Periscope. He's doing a really good work there. I'm gonna shut that out. I'm gonna get the Overstock video here, but I'm gonna move on until I find it because I don't want to just keep looking for it. No. You
could have clicked maybe next time.
Okay, here we go. We actually have, thanks to Brian, we have Epoch Times is fantastic, and we have a
Sooks. He's one of our moderators. Yes,
we have a subscription to Epoch Times. Okay, so Newt Gingrich says, laziness leads to sloppiness, and sloppiness is how the most brazen heist in American history is being exposed. Stealing the 2020 election was a mammoth undertaking, involving widespread lawlessness and illicit partnerships between private actors and public officials. They've been working to cover their tracks since Election Day, but they didn't work fast enough. Now the courts need to stop them from destroying more evidence so the people of Pennsylvania and the rest of the country can assuredly assess the ramifications of their wrongdoing.
Accurately.
Explosive new litigation filed in the federal district court on November 21st details the documents a wide variety of legal practices that were used to inflate the number of votes received by Democrat presidential candidate Joe Biden. An unprecedented number of mail-in and absentee ballots were cast this year, and practically everyone expected this would result in a higher than unusual rate of ballots being rejected. I believe it was Bloomberg or somebody said, oh my gosh, 1 million people's votes won't count because according to the regular rates, they would be rejected. On this rejection, in Pennsylvania, tens or hundreds of thousands of ballots were likely to be rejected based on historical patterns. Instead, a mere 0.03% of mail-in ballots were ultimately rejected. Somewhere in the neighborhood, only 1,000 were rejected. Mail-in ballots were rejected. Can you believe that?
Yeah, they're probably Trump ones.
Can you believe it? It turns out that the election officials in Democrat strongholds, Philadelphia, Pittsburgh, particularly Delaware County, exceeded their authority to give voters preferential treatment that wasn't afforded to voters in Republican-leading areas of the state. Specifically, election workers illegally, we talked about this, and so he's going over the pre-canvassing of mail-in ballots to determine whether they were missing their secrecy envelope, and then they'd be like, they would call people up and give people an opportunity to either correct or cure their ballots or come in and vote in person. They did not do that in Republican-leaning areas. That's not the only way Democrats vote the law. Extensive on-the-ground investigations conducted over the past year and a half by attorneys and investigators with the Amistad Project. I'm going to show you a video from that. The nonpartisan Thomas More Society have uncovered another element. Okay, Bukhkavar also exceeded her authority. I believe that's the Secretary of State by granting private partisan organizations. The pro-Democrat Rock the Vote got a hold of the voter
group
registration. Rock the Vote's web's tool was connected to our system, making the process of registering voters through their online programs and those of their partners seamless for voters across Pennsylvania. They literally were allowed to just put people on the rolls. Anybody. They could just put people on the voter rolls. Yeah, that's not supposed to happen. It's one thing for outside groups to submit registration applications to the state, but election clerks are the only ones who are supposed to enter that information into the records. Okay? It's easy to see why this inspecting post-election voter list, which contains names such as Mary April Smith, Mary May Smith, Mary June Smith, and Mary July Smith.
You're kidding.
And so forth through the rest of the calendar. Smith, Mary December Smith, When the same voter lists were purchased just a week later, however, those suspicious names had mysteriously disappeared from the rolls.
Wow.
Under the circumstances, they still have access to the voter rolls. They can take them on and off. Under the circumstances, that's direct evidence of systemic effort to conceal wrongdoing. All further alterations to the SURE system should be immediately halted to allow a thorough investigation of the records before any more evidence can be destroyed. The thieves who attempted to hijack the 2020 presidential election were bound to slip up somewhere. And now they're trying to clean up the glaring evidence of their wrongdoing before the full extent of their crimes can be exposed to the American public. We can't let that happen, or we may never be able to trust election integrity again. Could you believe that?
Yeah, and here again, I hate to keep coming to this because I don't want it to come to this. But it is looking more and more increasingly probable that since we're going to... It can't happen that 5 states have to throw out their results and we just decide without them.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, the Constitution has a remedy for when this kind of thing has taken place,
right?
And it's probably going to come down to that, which it's going to make a lot of people unhappy. But once the truth comes out about the fraud, I don't think, and I said this on our show the other night, the mainstream media is not going to be able to not report on this when it comes out.
Yeah,
they won't be. There will be no spinning.
Right.
What comes out.
Yeah.
It is what it is.
Yeah. Yeah.
They'll try to spin it, but they will be, I think this is a prophecy here. They will be at a loss for words.
Yeah.
Like, they will be in these board meetings, like, how do we clean this up?
Yeah.
They staked everything. They went all in, knowing full well that if this was uncovered, it would mean the end of them. And why did they do it? Because they also knew that if Donald Trump was elected in 2020, that it would mean the end of them, because we have the red wave.
Yeah.
Morality, Christianity, just rightness and goodness.
Right.
No more Democrat Party, no more Republican Party. It's the American Party. And we were coming, and we did come, and they will never recover from this.
So,
ever.
I don't know. I can't find the big interview that I had with Patrick Byrne. That was really good. Let me see.
Oh, we don't have good volume. That video itself isn't good volume either, because it's hard when we want to play stuff for you guys that people have recorded of a television with their cell phone.
Mm-hmm.
I know we do that sometimes, but it does make the audio difficult.
Yeah, exactly. He did a really good interview, and it was on. I actually posted on Alex Jones, but I can't seem to find it. He did it with Mike the Mike or somebody. Actually saw it. Let me see if I can go back here. Here it is. No, it's not. I went back and now it's not there. Shoot. All right. I'm going to skip it because it was really good. Let's see. We did that one. So Parler.
If you guys aren't following us on Parler, you need to be.
So
Mass Faith 3 and Resistance
Jenna Ellis, Trump's lawyer, tweeted this out, and people have been tweeting out that says, "I will not concede."
Oh wow! But this one doesn't have that on there.
It does. It does, but this is the picture.
That's what I'm saying.
But the picture, yeah, when it's smaller, it does have it.
Okay.
Now, I don't know how I feel about this, because you only pardon somebody who did something wrong, or was it? I don't know. Trump to pardon General Michael Flynn per report. President Donald Trump. But here's the thing. Tit for tat. Judge Sullivan isn't letting him go. And what's so weird about this is I kept thinking about this all day long.
We were talking about it on our dog walk.
Was it that what we're doing? I'm just like, I don't want him to be pardoned, because a pardon it still hangs over you like a shadow. But I kept thinking about Judge Sullivan not letting the dog go, or not letting the bone go. And if Flynn is just pardoned, and it's just, even though it's not the outcome that you want, you're still officially pardoned. You can go and do whatever.
And I think that's probably why Trump's like, Trump is probably eager to get Flynn into a position. I got to put him into a position. I got to put him into a position. What can we do? And they're probably like, well, you can wait for this to pan out, or we could just pardon him right now and it's done.
Yeah.
And so he probably, if I
well,
was
and
General
here's
Flynn,
the thing, you're coming up on the end of your, you're looking at it, and you've got to do something that's called contingency plans.
Right.
You have to have a plan B, plan C, plan E.
He can't allow Joe Biden to go into office. It's not going to happen. But he cannot allow Joe Biden to go into office without pardoning General Flynn.
What this does is it's like a tit for tat, like with the GSA, the General Services, buy your toilet paper, buy your paper, your pencils, whatever. There's nothing in the Constitution with the General Services account. Everybody's like, oh, they gave it to him. No, maybe you have to pay it back for his little pencils and typewriters or whatever.
Right.
But there's nothing in the Constitution that says only the president-elect gets this, blah, 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 blah. That's made up in the 1930s or 40s, okay? Washington didn't get one. I don't know. There was no GSA.
Hang on, I just got a spammer troll person that's totally clueless. You haven't watched any of our show. We just literally gave you all the evidence and all the answers to all the questions that you're leaving in the comments here, saying it's over. Trump was proven a liar in court and talking. I think you're referring to the fact that the judge in Pennsylvania didn't want to take the case, and you're saying
appealed, honey.
You're saying because there's no evidence. Hey, guess what? The judge literally said, I don't want to look at your evidence. He refused to look at the evidence. So we appealed. That's the way this works. We always knew it was going to go to the Supreme Court. When all of this comes out,
wait.
You're going to be so sorry.
This is my favorite response to y'all, okay? This is your mouth. If you believed that Trump was a Russian agent, you don't get to speak. We have journalists
so much
don't
evidence.
Get to say anything.
They don't get to, exactly.
You don't get to say anything, okay? Donald Trump was not a Russian agent, and our country went through hell for 3 years because Hillary Rodham Clinton created and paid for this thing called the PP dossier, okay, that was totally fake and made up by Russians.
Evidence, and they talked about it for 4 years.
Remember the MI5 guy, the Christopher Steele, he was actually British.
But pause. This person must have just joined the show. Because we just spent, how long have we been going live on YouTube here? I don't even know. It's been a while here. All right. We just spent the entire duration of our show giving all of the evidence and the affidavits. That's evidence actually, right? So it's not a matter even of Trump presenting the evidence. He's the president. He's got these lawyers that have mountains of evidence. And what we do all day long is dig it up and we're giving it to you people.
Here's all you need to know, honey child. Okay. Over 29% of Americans voted by mail.
Right.
In previous elections,
right,
the mail-in ballots have a rejection rate of 1%.
Yes.
Okay? In Pennsylvania, that rejection rate was 0.03%.
Meaning non-existent.
And only 1,000 were rejected.
Right.
Less were rejected during this election with millions of mail-in ballots. Then were rejected before.
But Leah, that's it. You said that's all you need to know.
That's enough to change the election.
That in and of itself is enough to change the election. And we have mountains of more evidence than just that one thing where we're talking about witnesses that have seen and were there when they were running the same ballot through, and multiple people have signed affidavits saying under penalty of perjury.
These people are going to present their case.
So
okay?
Do you understand that you can't present evidence before the court trial has actually
he probably doesn't
happened?
Know. You need to watch this video, okay?
Go back and watch the beginning.
Go watch
of our
the beginning.
Show.
These guys were poll workers who said they saw stacks of ballots being run through 2 and 3 and 4 times.
They are literally, they could go to jail for signing these affidavits saying this stuff. Okay. So come on, I hate to address the trolls, okay? But every once in a while, I have to, because it's important, because a lot of people are believing these lies, and then they hop into the chat.
Another question that
Okay, here's Michigan.
That I'd like to ask Mr. Chair. Again, this relates to the
Well, you just turned it off.
I didn't. I just turned it down.
Dominion issue. Mr. Liddy has spoken to the opportunity of plaintiffs to raise issues with Dominion software. First of all, were there Dominion personnel who were at the elections department able to move about freely? Can you speak to that? Because that's another thing that I've heard about.
So, Mr. Chairman, Supervisor Gates, so Mr. Valenzuela and I both oversee the central count tabulation system. And yes, there were Dominion employees working in our tabulation center. And I equate Dominion, they are the subject matter experts. I value that partnership, this contractual relationship. The decisions, the work that they make, that's done under the oversight of both Mr. Valenzuela and myself and our tabulation team. But it's like any private-public partnership. We rely on the best in class, the subject matter experts to do the work. You could look back through the history of America, and these private-public partnerships are what make great options for people to use. Our telephone systems, the internet. Here in Phoenix, we look at Phoenix Sky Harbor, right? The city of Phoenix owns the airport, but we don't have city of Phoenix employees flying planes, right? We have these private companies that bring in their planes. They hire the pilots. They hire the experts to fly. We as passengers trust that these experts are going to get us to our destination safely. And that is the case with Dominion.
I'm so glad
these individuals know the software better than us.
Exactly.
They train our employees through the contractual relationship. We rely on their expertise to ensure that we can provide a accurate, reliable.
No. I don't have any idea how this thing works. So I'm gonna put all of our faith,
now remember,
and all of our trust into into these people.
I hope the troll's still here.
Hi, troll.
Now, Eric Coomer.
We already talked about this.
Is the head of software and security at Dominion.
Right.
Okay? And he says, if you are planning to vote for the autocratic, narcissistic, fascist, blankety-blank blowhard and his Christian jihadist VP pick, unfriend me now, I'm not joking. I'm all for reasoned political discourse and healthy debate. And then he goes on to say, I'm looking to you, my friends. I disagree with many of you, but I respect your opinions. Only the absolute blankety-blankety idiot could ever vote for the windbag blankety-blankety-blankety-blankety blank. Okay?
Now this
you
is
are beyond hope, beyond reason. You are controlled by fear, reaction. Get your blankety blank together. He says, near the bottom of his rant, he clarifies, these opinions are rational and completely my own. They are based in reason and highly credible.
Right.
Though they are not necessarily the thoughts of my employer, though if not, I should find another job than rigging Dominion voting systems. I added that, but he says, who wants to work for a complete morons? Coomer appears to be trying to cover his tracks. None of my personal opinions affect my professional conduct or attitudes,
really?
adding, I am nonpartisan.
I need to make sure that I am only working for employers who feel like Donald Trump is the devil and no one, we cannot allow under any circumstances for him to be president, and we just so happen to control and design the security for the software. That's your guy, Eric Coomer. Now, hang on, because one more troll here on Twitter, all right? I had to see which chat we're going to. On Twitter. Now, I love it when it's usually the Twitter trolls come on and talk about us mega quote-unquote snowflakes crying. You must be new to our channel, okay? Because we've been laughing all the way to the bank, baby. Now, when Donald Trump was elected in 2016, we showed massive compilations of literal liberal tears. You have never seen, you can go back and watch any video that we've been doing over the past 2 or 3 weeks. Never have we cried and always have we laughed, because this is the biggest, most epic thing that has ever. So when y'all
been caught, honey child,
caught with your hand not in the cookie jar, but with the knife, and you just killed something. I mean, dude, we're homesteaders. We're farm girls. We butcher pigs. We butcher chickens. You ain't gonna see us crying, but you will see us laughing, because it's all coming out. And I shouldn't be smiling when I say this, because I am genuinely concerned for people like you who have been brainwashed by the lies of the mainstream media that Biden won this fair and square and it's all gonna be okay.
When
this all comes out, you will literally, please, no, I'm serious. FUPAA Slayer, whatever. Okay. This is a legit, I care for you, my brother, okay? When this comes out, please do not commit suicide. Seek help. And I'm serious.
It'll be better. Your life will be so much better. Don't worry, because you don't want to live under the communist, Antifa, BLM regime anyways. Your life will be better.
Yes.
Don't worry about it. But I will tell you this, and this is what I tell people.
I'm serious. Like,
the
they play games. They want y'all to go crazy when this happens.
They do.
They want you to turn into monsters and start looting and.
Did you see that? Do you know that like Washington D.C. and cities were boarded up? They were boarded up because they were worried that the Democrats would break things. What did the Republicans do? They marched for 45. They sang songs. They sang
Trump rallies where we were like laughing and honking.
We drove around our city and we had people yelling, "It ain't over! They cheated!"
We are the happiest people on the face of the planet. Why? Because we got Jesus.
Yeah, we have Jesus.
We have literally the creator of the universe is fighting this battle, and all we have to do is sit back and pray and watch and report on it.
And just gotta see it to the end.
I mean, it's a win-win. And I don't want you to be a loser. So you need to find Jesus before this comes out, because they're playing they were trying to mess with you. Don't let them do it.
Now, remember, there are conservatives blinding themselves with revisionist history about the 2020 election. They argue if Trump would have acted more presidential, he would have won. What they don't factor in is that he had 95% GOP support and expanded votes in almost all demographics. I said he got 10 million more votes than 2016 and more than any other president in history. Right. But the machines were rigged to skim some off the top for Biden, which is why it appeared he got some ungodly number of votes for a guy who didn't leave his basement and black people didn't even care for. If you don't vote for me, you ain't black.
I hate to sound like a broken record, but he couldn't fill 6 circles, and you expect people to believe that he got more votes than any president in the history of the United States when Trump had 96-mile trains of cars and was getting rallies of 60,000 people. Now, you don't do math. You must have gone to public school.
Here's what you also need to know, okay? The mainstream, Trump would have actually had even more votes, and Biden would have even less votes if the mainstream media didn't.
You want to talk about election?
Here's the thing: you don't get to tie your opponent around with his one arm around his back,
both arms,
and 2 feet together, and then say we won by a fair fight. Okay, this is the Democrats. This is what I said, because they're trying to say that for Jenna Ellis and all Republicans that they're going to oust us, that they have our names down like that.
Y'all got our names on a list.
I'm like, write our names down, because on the one side, we have all the men with all the testosterone.
Yeah.
And all the men with real, who are military guys, guys who know how to protect women and children and hunt and all that good stuff.
And we got Sidney Powell.
And on the, I'm just talking about the people.
Okay, yeah.
Okay? I'm talking about the people. And on the other side, all the men with no chest hair, and rounded shoulders, and that's
not to
lattes.
pick on people that have rounded shoulders. Let's be clear.
But we're
talking about a type of person,
a demographic that's the Biden voter. Okay, the testosterone manly men on one side. So here's the thing: the threats and there are no tears from these people. Okay,
and the people that don't have weapons.
There's no tears even if they lose.
Right,
rightfully.
Yeah,
I mean that's what you got to understand. Even if for some crazy reason this was a fair election and Donald Trump didn't win, we're not going to cry.
Right.
Okay? Because our hope is in Jesus. But here's the thing. You don't get to go, wow, 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 we won. Okay? And fairly. The only reason Biden got any votes is because big tech censored all the negative information about Biden. Biden never opened his mouth to say anything. And when he did, he said, go, you know the thing.
Go,
you know the thing. Go, you know the thing. Okay? Biden can't put up the sentence together. Okay? So you can't. There's no victory in having Biden as your president. Okay, he has dementia.
Do you know what the number one Googled thing was when Hunter Biden's laptop came out after people were already starting to pre and early vote?
How do I change my vote? All right, now I want you to see this graph behind me. So post-election survey of 1,750 Biden voters in 7 swing states. Now, the percent that were unaware of Biden's sex assault allegations. Do you know that there's a woman who has out that said Joe Biden stuck his fingers inside of her and raped her?
Hang on, you just said that out loud.
Okay.
We've never actually given that detail.
Do you know how many women have said Biden touched me, he sniffed me? That we have a Secret Service agent who said...
We've got the video compilations of him sniffing little kids.
And touching little girls. But... the mainstream media, they censored those. And 35% were unaware. Now, when they find out about them, 9%.
Almost 8.9%.
Leave Biden. Now, the Hunter Biden scandal, 45% of the people didn't know about 10%
Which
for the
is
big guy.
amazing because it proves that Twitter did their job right.
And Facebook.
And Facebook did that. When that came out, they were on it like white on rice. Okay? They censored that like ain't nobody's business.
Do you know that Hunter Biden has his own Pornhub account where he literally makes his own porn?
I think it's still up.
Okay? He hires prostitutes. And one of his porn videos, he makes a prostitute watch porn, makes her watch porn of a priest with 3 women in a Catholic church, and then he makes her do stuff, and it's on the internet.
But
imagine if Don Jr.
Let's be clear about
I've read a description about it. Okay, I saw screenshots. Blurred out screenshots. Okay? If Don Jr. did any of this stuff, okay, it would be front page news.
Actually, not only would it be front page news, but Trump would have lost votes. You know why? Because we care about that kind of stuff. It's amazing to me that out of 45.1%, only 9.4% after finding out about that shift away from Biden. If we are Christians, okay? If Trump's son is doing that kind of thing and Trump's still saying my son hasn't done anything wrong, I'm behind my son 100%. Sorry, Trumpy, you ain't getting our vote.
Do you know Kamala Harris is literally the most progressive leftist center. She is more lefty than Bernie Sanders. That means Kamala Harris was a literal communist. Now, people would have moved there. Donald Trump had economic growth, created 11 million jobs. 43% did not know about Trump's Middle East peace deals with Bahrain and Qatar.
Yep.
Are you kidding me? The mainstream media doesn't tell you the good things that Donald Trump is doing. U.S. energy independence and Operation Warp Speed. And then when you add these all up, that's a 17% vote shift. Okay? The mainstream media did its job. And here's the thing. You don't get to say we win when you cheat.
Yep.
You cheat. You cheat. You don't tell the truth. We all knew about Trump's grab him by the blank. Okay? And listen, he said the girls were so loose that they let you do this. Okay? He never said I go up and do this
or he
and stuff like that.
Women, right?
Okay? So there is that. All right.
Which that clip is from an old Trump. Okay?
Yeah,
that's from the Playboy
different.
Trump. Honestly, I mean, I'm a pretty straight-laced type of person, but if you were to take a clip from me from 20 years ago, I might have to say, you know what? I wasn't who I am today then, and I'm different now.
Right.
And I think that Trump has come out and been very, very clear about that.
Yeah.
Which is one of the reasons why we were never Trumpers. Okay?
Yeah.
I thought he was that big penthouse playboy, and that's why I've left my video up, Righteous Rant Against Christians Who Want to Vote for Trump.
Mm-hmm.
I was a dead set anti-Trumper, and then I saw the man change, and I saw the people who were voting for him.
So if I can't get this to play, I'm gonna just maybe get you to play it. I'll retweet it out.
Okay. Let's go to
They
Twitter.
were overriding ballots. Artisha Boomer. I really hope that some of our trolls are still here because y'all need to hear this. You need to know, okay? You need to go back and watch our shows on the Hunter Biden laptops and 10% for the big guy, sweetie. Okay? This is China Joe. All right?
I got it up. You want me to play it?
Yeah. And there's going to be two because I'm going to go ahead and
okay. Let me rewind.
Straight row.
I don't know if that video is like 40
so how many of
tweet
these
that up,
straight red ticket or votes for President Trump did you witness approximately go back into the envelope or whatever after they were taken out?
So they came in a pack of 50. Okay. Out of the 50, it would be maybe just 2 that they were happy about. So I didn't get just like 2 ballots that would come out. They would put the rest of them back in the envelope because they count 50 at a time. 2 or 3 would be happy in each pile. Would never be more than 5 ballots that they were happy about that they actually passed around and rolled out. One girl would roll them up and then she would roll them out with her hand and to straighten them to make sure, I guess, they're going to get fed in a tabulator or so.
So how many groups of 50 did you witness this happen with?
Oh my God. More than 50. More than 100.
Which table was this? Was this both tables?
So there were 2 tables together, 123 right here and 120 right here. They would override so many ballots that I saw they would put in the scanner, and then on there it would say, "Are you sure you want to override to them?" Like something. In other words, it's a Republican ballot, but they went in and overrid the system, and they would take the mouse and click yes, and a green check mark would come in and says processed or something. But this was after they kept overriding each and every last ballot that they put into their scanner that was on their table. They would override them. Not one time did I see one go through and it was just went through. They were overriding ballots.
What do you mean by overriding?
They would click in the system. So if my vote is for a Democrat, you can override it to Republican. If it's a Republican, you can override it to Democrat. It specifically says, do you want to override it? And they were overriding them.
Come on now.
Then there's the next one.
Oh my gosh. All right, let me refresh this here.
That's the full one, so go down one more.
Oh, wait. Sorry. I think I already clicked on it. This one? That's not the one we just played?
No, go ahead.
Okay.
Artesia Bomber.
How do we spell that?
We're going to spell that A-R-T-I-C-I-A. And Bomber is B-O-M-E-R.
That's the bomb. She's the bomb.
Okay. And are you a resident of Michigan?
I am.
What days were you involved in the election this year?
November the 3rd and November the 4th.
Okay. Where were you on the 3rd?
I was at TCF Center, downtown Detroit. He announced we need all of the table leads to come over to the far left corner if I'm facing that way. And they all went piling to the left to this meeting.
And this is the night of election?
This is the night of election,
okay,
between 11 and 11:30 p.m. Well, at my particular table, which was 123, we had a black man about maybe 5'8" in height, dark with glasses, a little bald on the top. He said something very disturbing before they started counting. His words were, he was talking to one of the other poll workers at the table. He told the poll worker, "This is our house tonight, right?" And the poll worker said yes. And he said, "So from now on, they're going to do what we tell them to do." So I take that as this is our house, the Democrats, and the Republicans or independents and anybody else outside of that is going to do what we tell them to do tonight. Every time I observed a straight ticket or I saw Donald Trump's name circled in, they would shove it back in the envelope and they would put it back in the pile.
Every time?
Every time they saw it, they would shove. It was so many votes. They even had USPS boxes stacked up by the threes under each person. And on the top of those ballots was either red straight ticket or you can see Donald Trump's name shaded in. And they were all on the floor. The man that was sitting right here, why are these still sitting on the floor? He said, oh, they were already counted. But remember, we just started the counting a little bit past 11:30 p.m. on November the 3rd. So how could all those be counted that quick? It was impossible.
They were taking out any ballot that had Donald Trump or a straight Republican ticket.
And they went into boxes, and those are the ballots that are probably referred to as the ones that were destroyed. We will probably never see those ballots again. And that is why, unfortunately...
You don't get to tell me, ha, 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 liberal tears. I'm not going to cry because I'm angry. Because you Democrats cheated. You don't get to run around and say, we scored a touchdown when you cheat and you lie and you steal. That's not how this works. I know it works in the Democrat playbook. Okay? That's why there's no tears coming down. And that's why you do have the Republicans who are gutted.
Right.
They're gutted because the DOJ, the FBI, and the CIA are all corrupt.
Yep.
They framed Donald Trump. They framed General Flynn. And so, yeah, we're gutted sometimes.
Right.
Because we thought that possibly there might be some good guys in those positions. All we want is a fair shake.
Exactly.
All we want to do is show up on the field.
Hang on, we got somebody.
Mano a mano.
I don't know how all these trolls on Twitter find us. They're not on Facebook or on YouTube. But for all the Twitter trolls on there that are there, and I hate to keep addressing the trolls, but it's important for anyone else in our regular chat that's like, kind of like, wait, what's going on? They say that's been debunked, honey child.
No, that's an affidavit, sweetheart.
She
signed her name
under penalty of perjury. And guess what? She ain't the only one.
And she's not the only one.
We've got hundreds and thousands of people that have signed these affidavits saying that they saw the same
all these
thing
people
in court. That's called evidence.
I'll play a couple more for you, okay? I'll just go back because some of you are new here.
They would set it on top and they would just rescan the whole thing.
Okay, wait.
Listen,
hang on, but they're talking about the Hunter Biden laptop being debunked.
What?
You kidding me?
Okay, I can't even talk to you.
Okay, you don't even deserve an acknowledgement at that point because that. Do you understand that it's impossible? It has not.
Where's your proof that it's been debunked?
Where do you get your information?
The laptop is real. It's actually in the FBI's possession.
Mm-hmm.
We have people who have copies of the hard
Hunter
drive.
Biden has a Pornhub account. That has not been debunked. If you feel inclined, you can go and look at it.
Okay.
Okay, so now we're not going to acknowledge y'all because you just cray.
Okay, just one more. I want you to go back and listen to her. She says,
due to a crease in the paper in the wrong place.
Oh, no, we don't have the right speaker on. You're not going to be able to hear.
And they would just rescan the whole back.
So, a crease in the paper, the ballots wouldn't go through, and they would just rescan the whole batch 2, 3, 4, 5 times, and they would count those votes for Biden over and over and over again.
We have multiple people. Okay?
She's not the only witness. All these witnesses signed affidavits.
Something like chaotic broke out. It was an extremely contentious environment. But they should get sued for that.
We had people that were blocked from even getting into the facility by the police. That wouldn't be allowed into the facility. These were people that were going to be poll challengers for this. They refused to allow them access to it.
The ones that left to go get something to eat did not know they weren't going to be allowed.
You can't play the whole video.
No, I just am playing a couple to get you an idea.
We go back and watch the beginning of our show, people. Yeah. Okay. A Boydo says, sorry, Leah and Michelle, I tweeted out your video. No, it's okay. Tweet it out. I want the people. You might learn something if you come here. The problem is if you come here just like in like one little thing and you've never been to Resistance Chicks and you haven't watched the literal thousands of hours of videos that we've done already showing the evidence, I can't re-give it to you.
Okay, so I got 2 more videos that won't play, and go ahead and play those for me for Twitter.
Peter says, you're talking to the blind and the plain ignorant. I know, but I still want them. Guys, I need them to know because I am, and I know we joke around and I laugh a lot, but I am legitimately afraid for these people whose minds have been warped by the mainstream media into believing all this stuff.
Okay. That's okay. But play the videos so our people can get the videos.
You wanted me to play something?
Yeah, 2 videos.
Wait, did you just
Twitter.
tweet them out?
Yeah, I retweeted them.
All right.
Because my computer's, I have to shut it down, I think.
Okay. All right, we got more stuff here. Epic show here. I'm playing the video. You can put it.
Scotland becomes the first country in the world to make sanitary products free.
Okay, that's weird.
We know that ballot
I want to play
rejection rate dropped. We know that verification systems.
All right.
Of the evidence for that, what I've seen so far that looks consistent with how I know these systems work is that we have witness statements of various irregularities in ballot counting. We also have known vulnerabilities that are publicly and secretly known. And what we're missing is the forensics to actually be able to prove that. So although me and Sidney are both arriving at a conclusion of concern around the election, I think we're doing it in slightly different ways.
So it is possible to massage the votes and get a result that you would want based on using some of these voting machines and software. Is that correct?
So it's possible to alter the outcome of the election by manipulating the process that the ballots are going through and the verification. It's also possible to enhance those attacks, make them more plausible by tweaking things inside the software. But what I will point out is that you don't necessarily need a hacker to tweak those things. You could just be an admin. Like I said, you could just turn off verification.
There was, I think, some sort of an advisory panel from the Department of Homeland Security. A couple of individuals who said that there's nothing to worry about, that we had the safest, cleanest election that we've ever had. Do you agree with that, sir?
No, I don't agree with that, because how would they know? The voting machines don't report back to headquarters. There's no self-diagnostic. They don't have software that sits there and sniffs out the hacker of bad behavior.
based on what you've seen, you feel that there is some evidence, some likelihood that there's been some vote total manipulation either with the machines or the software or something. Is that correct?
Essentially, yes. Based on what I'm seeing, these things have to be investigated, and the people that are pointing to them are definitely not crazy. They are definitely pointing to something that is backed up by logical fact.
Okay, there's got 45 seconds left. I read that.
All right.
Here's some facts. We know that ballot rejection rate dropped. We know that verification systems just got created. We know that verification systems are operated by humans. We know what the skew is of the ballots they're processing. So it's easy to see how somebody that's in the middle of that verification scheme might be, hey, I'm just going to let these ballots through, or if they're for a side that they know they're against, I'm going to increase their rejection rate, right? So it's that central thing opens up, those central facts open this up to a whole lot of manipulation, and the only way to confirm that is with the evidence, which so far we essentially seem to have 2 out of 3. We know about vulnerabilities, we know about eyewitness reports. What we don't know is what actually really happened, because to know that, you have to security audit the machines. Here's some facts.
The truth. Go ahead and go up one more while you have it up. And this is people. Gavin Newsom has a 10 p.m. curfew. And this is out front of Gavin Newsom's house. A long line of just horn honking in front of his house. That's what they think of your stupid... we're not going anywhere.
Oh my gosh, I want to be there so bad. Oh my gosh. I want to be there.
We should do that to Mike DeWine.
Californians are awesome.
We should do that to Mike DeWine. All right, a couple more things, and then we got to go. It's so much. I
told you guys that tonight's show was going to be fire.
So much. Phil Klein. He is working for what's called the Amistad Project. Separate lawyers. Rudy Giuliani says that they're kind of teaming up on some things. Yes, they are. They don't have, as he explains, the standing that the Trump campaign would.
Right.
But he still is making some headway, and he's filing legal injunctions. And he's got so many things going on. Let me just play his interview with Lou Dobbs today.
As the board, by just over 20,000 votes.
Wisconsin.
Well,
Here's one he's filed in Wisconsin.
Is the man leading the Amistad project, Phil Klein. He's the director, and we are delighted, Phil, to have you with us. And I want to say, first of all, it's my understanding that you filed suits now in 6 states. Is that correct?
Yes, we are in the process. We already have suits in 6 states, but we're filing more based on this new data.
And this new data is?
What we put together is a series of decisions at the local level, by the way, funded and encouraged by the flow of $350 million of Mark Zuckerberg monies, that allowed for the infusion of these questionable or fraudulent ballots into the stream to be counted. And the analysis through using government data, Lou, and then calling out to voters and asking them about their behavior, getting them to sign affidavits, is that in each one of these swing states, there are hundreds of thousands of votes in question, as you mentioned in Wisconsin. And in addition to the ballots you mentioned in Wisconsin, we've identified over 12,000 Republicans who voted whose votes were not counted according to the state's data. So what you had is $350 million coming in, the creation of all this Dropbox, consolidated counting centers in the urban core around the nation, Zuckerberg money paying the election judges and officials inside the rooms, and then Republicans in America kicked out of the counting room. And that can't stand and should not stand as a fair and integral election.
It is stunning how the left in this country has suddenly acquiesced, forgotten its responsibility, and is now ignoring these billionaire oligarchs, most of them from Silicon Valley and social media, big tech, who are trying desperately to take over this election and manipulate it. We heard the testimony of Dr. Robert Epstein again this summer. And now he's confirming that what he said is happened, that there was an effort by Google to sway the vote. And they succeeded at the very least, to the tune of 6 million voters. Your thoughts about the role of money here and what has to be done to stand up to that kind of corrupt influence?
Well, you said it, Lou, oligarchs. And there's two things that you need to do to control the country. You want to control the flow of information. Check. All the censorship, what Google did. And then you want to control the way a country selects its leaders. And that's really the unspoken story to the American people. Mark Zuckerberg's monies alone matched the federal government appropriation for elections this year. $400 million. Google also gave money to this effort. And we now have evidence pursuant to court order that they turn it over because they don't want to share this information with the American people. We have evidence that they actually told local election officials how to manage the election in these core Democrat areas where you see all the problems. That was Zuckerberg and a group called the Center for Tech and Civic Life telling them what to do. And I give you this thought. They told America we needed to consolidate counting centers. For COVID, we're going to create a crowd to protect us from COVID. That makes no sense.
Right.
The reason they did it
so much
they
doesn't.
didn't want Republicans to see, and they wanted to infuse fraudulent ballots, and they did it.
Phil, I want to ask you as we're wrapping, because we heard from Paul Ryan, the former Speaker of the House, and the man who most people hold responsible for the Republicans losing control of the House in 2018, talking about how it's...
I don't even want to hear what he has to say. I know what he has to say.
Paul Ryan.
Yeah, I got one more for you guys. I thought I had one more. Matt Brainard has finished his work on figuring out a lot of these anomalies, and he's done a very good job, and I don't have time. I have not watched the YouTube on it. His whole findings and conclusions just came out an hour ago.
Oh, wow.
But some of
He's the one that had to get funding.
Yeah,
to do the phone center calls and everything like that.
Some of the interesting things that he found was a sample of postal facilities, USPS, FedEx, and UPS addresses disguised as apartments in Georgia for voter registration.
No way.
Okay, so these are addresses of USPS, but then they put apartment numbers. And that's in the thousands.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
No, it's actually believable.
Yeah. So in Georgia and Pennsylvania, they discovered 1,400 early absentee voters were registered residential addresses to postal facilities.
Every single one of those ballots would need to be thrown out, but at this point, it's like, how do you match the vote with and because we knew this ahead of going into the election, that they were once they had done the signature verification on the envelope, they were going to throw it away. So I don't know how much this has to do with that, or if it's always on record and you can get in there and specifically. That's why I think that it's going to boil down to tossing the election in a lot of these states.
Yeah,
so it's really upsetting.
The Amistad Project has a suit in Wisconsin to throw out 150,000 ballots. There's some bad news coming out of Wisconsin. I don't know if it's good news or bad news, because they counted Madison, and there's a whole stack of challengeable ballots because they had the bobsled had the plexiglass, and they held it up fairly between a Republican and a Democrat sitting there, and every single ballot. In Milwaukee, the Republicans are not allowed to watch. So what's the use of it? And Bobsled is tweeting this out, saying he's trying to get it fixed.
But
in Milwaukee.
why, though?
Because they cheated there, and that's where the cheats are.
But if you're hang on, Trump's paying millions,
$3 million
of dollars to have this count done,
right?
And so it has to. If they're going to charge Trump, the Trump team, then they have to do it.
They're fighting hard.
So I think it's good news, and here's why: because it proves their intent to be fraudulent.
Yeah,
it just straight up proves it.
Yeah. Okay, guys, I could just go on and on and on and on all night, but we got to sign off.
Okay.
Thanks to Michelle because she put off the show till later on so we could do a little last minute shopping. We have a curfew here in Ohio because we're children. And we cannot leave the house after 10 p.m. because our governor is a dictator. He's a stupid, slimy dictator who says that COVID comes out after 10 o'clock and I can't go get me some French's fried onions
when there's no one at the grocery store. Okay.
Poor woman, like an immigrant. I don't know who she was. She had an accent. She comes up with little things of toilet paper, 4 little rolls. She had like 8 of them, right? In her cart. She's trying to check out. COVID, you can only have 1 package. I'm like, honey, this is what you do. As the checkout lady, like, stacked them all up. Just pulled right out of her cart. You can't take those. Stacked them right up. She's going to take them back. And I said, go back. I said, y'all have some big packs of toilet paper back there? Yeah, we do. Go get yourself a big pack of toilet paper. It'll be cheaper anyways. Okay? Those things are probably like $1.99. Get yourself a big pack of Charmin. Okay? So when she left, she's pushing her cart back. She's going to go get herself a big thing of toilet paper because these rules don't make any sense. She said, you know what she said? She goes, 4 rolls of toilet paper. How's anybody supposed to survive on 4 rolls of toilet paper? She was like in tears. She was angry. How am I going to wipe myself? Okay? These dictators don't make sense. Here's the thing: you can go to Sam's and get one big thing. I want to clarify:
we aren't obeying the curfew. I'll say that on camera.
Well, the
store closed.
Open. Yeah,
just to clarify that. So you went back and helped her.
Well, she went back. I didn't help her pick out her toilet paper.
But you told her to get a big one, right?
Yeah.
All right. So I want to round this off here. You're gonna play that video? No.
Play it or
how
not?
long is it? 6.5 minutes. It's almost 7 minutes.
Play the
No,
video.
we'll play it. Hang on. Wait, we'll play it. But I want to get this. This was really good. I said, Leah, are we going to play that? And she said, yeah. Then I said, shut it off. We'll just play it on the show. With the no evidence, guys. I don't even know, I'm not beating my head against a wall because I know that the evidence is coming. I'm hurting for your ignorance. I don't know who you people are. I pray for you, okay? This stuff is all just coming out. You don't present. What has happened here is the greatest, just like Joe Biden said, the most extensive election fraud organization in history. He literally is quoted as having said that. We play the video constantly. They think it's a slip. If it was a slip, it was a Freudian one. He knew exactly what he was saying. You can't bring that to no case. It has to be brought before a court, and the court has to allow you to submit your evidence. And if they don't, then you've got to go higher up. So do yourself a favor. Watch tomorrow. I think is Pennsylvania the first place they're going, or Georgia? Georgia's the first place they're going. They're going to do hearings.
Pennsylvania will have hearings. Sorry. Pennsylvania will have hearings.
And Rudy Giuliani is going to be presenting evidence. If you do not sit there and watch the entire thing, you don't get to comment on whether there's evidence or not. You have to sit there like a juror and listen to all of the evidence presented. Right. Okay, now let's listen to this guy.
Okay, moving on to COVID. Yeah. Okay, now he's going to tell you how this man is a doctor. Is T. Torres, 1999.
On Instagram. TITOORTIZ.
4-year-old child rushed the emergency room with bacterial infection from wearing a mask. Too much.
Hey everybody, it's Dr. Eric Naputi. I hope you're having a great day today. I'm going to tell you something. I just got off the phone with... I'm just so blown away by this. I've seen this already so much, it's not even funny. And I need you to understand that the system is set up to kill people right now. I just got off the phone with a patient of mine, her grandson, and the pediatrician that takes care of this kid. This is a 4-year-old little boy that got rushed to the emergency room last night because he was having shortness of breath, wheezy, and cough. Guess what he has? This 4-year-old has a bacterial infection in his lungs because of prolonged mask use. He's 4. He's 4 years old, and this kid almost died because of this stupid-ass, ignorant restrictions that there's no science behind. And the reason why there's no science behind is because wearing these masks, especially for children, on a prolonged exposure can hurt you. We're seeing these reports happening all over the country. And by the way, the pediatrician confirmed it. So did they at the emergency room. This 4-year-old got an overexposure to bacteria because we breathe negative, bad bacteria. Toxins come out of our body, out of our mouth, out of our skin, out of our bowels, and out of our urine. That's how we detox our body. We've got to get the bad stuff out. It comes out of our breath. Guess what? This 4-year-old had a bacterial respiratory infection and almost died. They thought that this kid wasn't going to make it. Thank God the hospitals were able to help him. But I wonder how many people right now are having these symptoms of bacterial respiratory infections and they think it's COVID. And they're going to the hospitals and getting hooked up on IVs and all this other kind of stuff that's going on. This is unbelievable. 4-year-old, this grandmother, this lady called me. I've known her for over a decade. She says, Dr. Eric, you're not going to believe this. I've got my daughter and the pediatrician on the phone with me right now. My grandson almost died last night because he got a bacterial infection from wearing his mask too much. This is not okay. This has got to stop. We have gone too far. People are dying unnecessarily. People shouldn't be dying anyway. But they're not dying from COVID. They're dying from the side effects that the idiots that are in charge, who shouldn't be in charge, are killing our kids, killing our adults, and killing each other. You guys, the people, between 40,000 and 60,000 Americans died in nursing homes because idiots like the governor of New York and other idiot governors mandated that the nursing homes take positive COVID patients back inside. And by the way, they didn't even look at the research and data that shows that if zinc and D are low in patients that are in nursing homes, that they have almost a 40 to 50% chance of dying from any type of disease, including respiratory viruses. The information has been out there, but has been suppressed on purpose. Why? To kill people, because when people die, it scares the hell out of people, and it helps push a narrative of fear and control. This has got to end. How many more people are going to have to die? How many more kids are going to end up in the hospital? How many more kids are scared to death? I just talked to a 16-year-old kid yesterday who's scared to death that he's going to die from COVID, doesn't have any symptoms whatsoever, but is scared to death because every time he coughs or sneezes or whatever, he thinks he's going to die because that's what he's seen on social media. This is stupid. This is ignorant. I just cannot believe that this is happening. This is like the world's worst dream that's ever been around. Well, let me tell you something. It's time for us to wake up from this nightmare. It's time for us to step up. Step up and stand up. Doctors, I am imploring you. Please tell your patients the truth. Tell your patients the reasons why you don't wear a mask all the time during flu and cold season is because a mask does not stop the spread of a virus. And why we wear them, why we're in the surgical rooms, is so we don't spit into an open wound. That's the reason why. We don't wear them to try to stop the spread of viruses and bacteria. We're wearing them so we don't spit in someone else's wound that's open. And by the way, there's not been a vaccine that's been created that can actually stop an RNA virus. And there won't be. And by the way, the criteria for a successful vaccine, if you'd wake up and please see what's happening, is not to stop the spread. It's not to stop infection rates. It's not to stop hospitalizations or deaths. It is to stop the spread, to slow the infection rate. That's what or not the infection rate, the risk of symptoms. That's it. What is the point? Stop it. There's more of us than there are of them. Please understand that there is now a time that we have got to wake up. Take these masks off your children. Take this mask off yourself. Get some air. Breathe some quality. Smile at people. It comes back to you. 4-year-old little boy, St. Louis, Missouri, almost died yesterday. His grandmother and mother took him to the emergency room. The pediatrician said, you have a respiratory bacterial infection because of overexposure and over-prolonged use of a mask. And he's wearing a cloth mask, the ones that you see everywhere, all over the place. Please, for the love of God, download this video, share this video all over social media, download it and share it to your friends, text it, go do a watch party later because people need to see what's really happening. And the guy who supposedly wants to become the president, wants to mandate masks for 90 days? How many respiratory infections are we going to have? How many children are going to die? How many immunocompromised people are going to die because of that? It is beyond out of control. It is time to push back. And you push back with knowledge, wisdom, and actions. Enough is enough. Take off the mask. Get yourself some zinc. Get yourself some D. Get yourself some sunshine. Eat some quality food. Get your body to the right weight that it can be at.
That's good advice.
And you don't have anything to fear. COVID-19 is a self-limiting disease in 99.97% of the world. Believe it.
Wow. So they want to know where the link is to that video. Can we find it on your Twitter?
I love and appreciate y'all. Have a blessed day, Dr. Eric Naputi. Till we talk again.
Let's see.
Hey everybody, it's Dr. Eric Naputi. I hope you're having a great day today.
We're sharing it to Twitter now.
I'm going to tell you something. I just got off the phone.
While it's playing again.
I'm just so blown away by this. I've seen this already so much, it's not even funny. And I need you to understand that the system is set up to kill
here. All right, let me get to some comments here in the chat. Just a few psychopaths to tell people what to do, how to think, and what to do with their lives, and millions of rules, says New. Dale Jones says this virus will end when the mainstream media stops reporting on it sometime in late January. Exactly.
Jim Hoft, we spoke with a top Trump associate tonight. This is what we were told repeatedly. Trump is going to win. It's going to be a good couple of weeks ahead. Victoria Toasting, one of Trump's lawyers that Donald Trump just tweeted out. In Detroit, I'm going to turn him off, sorry. Vote counters were instructed to predate absentee ballots and to not look for deficiencies in ballots from a sworn affidavit. No sworn doc disputing, so not in dispute. Republicans not allowed to witness counting, not in dispute. Real Donald Trump, hashtag MAGA.
Hang on, sometimes I like to address stuff in the chat, so... Leah doesn't like it when I do this, but we're a full show, and you are all valued parts.
No more trolls.
No, it's not a troll. No. Someone in the chat, Corey, God bless you, I'm glad you're here, was very enthusiastically angry at that video, as you would be, okay, and was dropping the F-bomb. One of the moderators got to you and kind of timed you out. People, we have children that read the chat, so we try to keep it family friendly. We do not try to censor stuff. I'm so glad that you're here. I feel the exact same way that you do, so I apologize that you got timed out, but thank you for being a part of
No, I appreciate when you read the comments. I was like, we just don't have any more time to address the trolls. Mark Meadows
I'm glad you're here.
Tweeted out, big news in Nevada. A judge has allowed Nevada Republicans to present findings of widespread voter fraud in a December 3rd hearing. Americans will now hear evidence. Here's the thing. We had to get to the hearings to hear the evidence. The evidence could be reported on, and Tucker Carlson could get a thumb out of his mouth. I've been coming up with some really good stuff lately. That's really good. Evidence from those who saw firsthand what happened.
Tucker.
A critical step for transparency and remedying illegal ballots. Remember, 15,000 people in Nevada voted in 2 separate states. Emma Robinson says, I just talked to a Fox News insider. The panic there is very real. If you support Donald Trump, you're dead with management. If you support Joe Biden, you're dead with your audience.
It is what it is.
All right.
No, we're going to sign off. Thank you guys for being here. You guys have been awesome. If you would please like and comment on this video wherever you are watching it at, on YouTube, on Facebook, or on Twitter, Periscope, and share it. It's really important to get this information out. Why? Because the mainstream media is not giving it to you because they want to control your minds. Guess what? The mainstream media, Twitter, Facebook, even though we're using these platforms right now, we are on Parler, okay? They are not your friend, and they do want to control your mind. They want to control everybody's mind, okay? And guess what? It's not happening.
Okay, this is awesome. This is awesome because my uncle, he lives with us. We have to take care of him. He played this today.
No, I heard him.
He played this today.
Did you order a code red?
Did you order an election?
Don't scream in the thing.
I want the truth.
You're not going to be able to do Tom Cruise on this show.
You can't handle the truth.
When I don't have a proper mic.
Yes, I ordered the stealing of this election.
I apologize in advance for the mic cracking when Leah gets excited.
I want the truth.
I want the truth.
That is Jenna Ellis, Donald Trump's lead counsel.
And she says, mood. That's her mode.
Did you order a code red election? Did you order the code red election?
Oh, it's so good.
I want the truth. You can't handle the truth.
Right.
That's the whole Democrat Party.
Oh,
and then she tweets out this: from the rising of the sun to the going down of the same, the name's Lord will be praised. Psalm 113:3. What did he say? Donald Trump. What did you just say earlier about Donald Trump's lawyers?
They have God on their side.
He surrounded himself with Christian lawyers.
Exactly. No. Exactly. These lawyers are not
all Christians.
I said, when you have, we know that lawyers are corrupt by and large, but we also know that lawyers have the ability to pull off a lot of stuff, to make people see things, maybe even see things that aren't real. I said, but when you have a Christian lawyer that is held by the standards that are in the Word of God, they're untouchable.
Yeah.
Okay? Untouchable. When you have the creator of the universe living literally inside of you and you are fighting for law and justice, the devil and the world, I don't care what kind of bad judge you're in front of, cannot stop this war from being won. We don't battle with flesh and blood, but we battle in spiritual places. And we are winning that battle. And I need for you guys to be encouraged. I need for you guys to be encouraged.
Oh, here's the thing. You guys need stuff to listen to. Just listen to Dan Bongino all day long.
All day long.
He's just on fire.
He is so on fire.
He is so on fire. Here is a picture on air with Rudy Giuliani discussing their strong defense. She's a little warrior, man. She is just like there are so many Deborahs coming out.
Right.
So many Deborahs.
All right. She retweets Donald Trump. Should President Trump concede to Biden?
There's a poll.
Poll results
from Newsmax.
No. 190,000, 98.9% say no, and 2,181 say yes.
That is a Newsmax poll.
That's really good. All right, so I want to do a shout out real quick to, we've had some donations this month. And last month, actually, I went on to our PayPal. And I never go there because we really don't ever get no donations, because we don't push them, because we want to be able to do this show for free for you guys.
Yes.
But so I went there because Stuart in UK had said that he had sent a donation, and Economic Democracy had said that he had sent one. So I was like, okay, I need to go and process those donations. And then I found like 4 other donations there. 2 of them were from October, and the other 2, or 2 or 3, or however many that were there, I don't remember exactly. But I sent you guys emails, and I want to personally thank you on air. You know who you are, for your donations. We will be putting that money to good use. So thank you.
We normally put it we try to do it to the equipment and things like that. But we are honestly. This right here, Michelle needed 8 stitches. So
Mom doesn't like when we show it.
You guys help.
It looks a lot better.
Help pay for that.
I don't know if you notice on air. I'm trying to like do my own physical therapy, but it doesn't really want to bend beyond.
So what's hilarious is Facebook put in my recommendation today a suture kit with like real skin, like what would be like kind of like real skin, and how to do all the different sutures. So maybe with that, maybe I should get that. So next time I can just go.
Thank you, Kathy. She says we won. I love Michelle's message yesterday. Donald J. Trump will not give Biden the keys to the White House.
Whoever this,
and not because he will just begrudge him and you got to haul him off. Like literally, all of this is coming out, guys.
So I don't know who this is. Jenna Ellis tweeted him out. Okay, this is how I know we're winning.
Christian J. Lasval.
Go ahead, read what he says.
Donald Trump is a better guardian of Christianity, individual liberty, family, and the unborn than any progressive Christian. As they continue to prove the progressive Christian would march all of those things right out of existence in the name of compassion and love.
Jenna Ellis, Donald Trump's lead attorney, tweeted that out. McEnany is tweeting out scriptures and songs and taking Donald Trump. They're getting Donald Trump to go to church. They're trying to get this man filled with the Holy Ghost and saved, and they're working on him. Okay.
Not only that, but I see General Flynn, I see Lynn Wood, and Sidney Powell talking about God.
Super Christian, Christian. Lynn Wood is caught. I've never, ever, I gotta leave you with this because I gotta go. I have never seen anything like this in my entire life. I have never seen people say, we're going to fight with everything in our power and we're going to ask God to do the rest.
Guys, this is a movement. I need
this
all
is a Christian
viewers to feel this. When the reason why I did that show, is Sidney Powell still behind you? Can you shrink that? This is why I did this video last night, okay? I made it the background on Leah's computer so I could use it for an example. This is, Sidney Powell said it was going to be biblical.
This is biblical.
Okay? We are looking at something. This is why God led us to do the Revelation Red Pill Academy series leading up to this election, to show you guys. And I've seen your comments, and please, God bless you. I love you. Please do not. I'm not calling anybody out here, but we are not headed into the Great Tribulation. Okay. That happened in AD 70. Okay. Jesus is coming back one day, but what happened? To a triumphant church. His kingdom is growing and expanding. And right here, right now in 2020, is going to be one of the greatest leaps forward that we have seen since the Civil War, the Revolutionary War, the Pilgrims coming, okay, Constantinople. Like, we see these great leaps forward. 2020 is one of those where the gospel is expanding and spreading. So the last 100 years where the devil thought that he had a foothold into our nation, we are kicking him out. You are not going to... The Pilgrims landed, and I'm going to talk about this tomorrow night. We're probably going to do a Thanksgiving special. The Pilgrims landed here 400 years ago this month. They created the Mayflower Compact 400 years ago this month. They came here with a 500-year plan. So, and they made a covenant with God to fulfill that plan, to expand the gospel and create a government that is for Christianity, for goodness, for the principles of Jesus Christ. So we have 100 years to see it fulfilled. And I can guarantee you it is going to happen. And you are alive to witness it. And your children will be alive to witness it.
This is my favorite.
It's coming right now, guys.
This is my favorite number. So during the Revolutionary War, a third of all the colonists wanted to remain loyal to Britain. A third didn't care. And a third wanted liberty more than their life. But only 3% actually fought the battle. Okay?
Right.
And I recognize that those of you who might be down or depressed or whatever like that, you're going to receive the benefits. But the reward in heaven will go to those who are fighting right now.
Right.
Okay? Great is your reward in heaven when you fight here right now. And I want to encourage you to get into the Word of God, to pray, and to ask the Holy Spirit what you do to make a difference.
Yeah.
Believe that God is, and He is a rewarder of those who diligently seek Him. Believe that God has good things for you. The devil did a really good job of brainwashing the church to think that every Satan, every bad thing around the corner would be, boo, Jesus is coming. No, no, no. I'm going to tell you something. I'm going to shut that door right now. Jesus is coming when the gospel has spread everywhere, okay? Of the increase of his government
and peace.
And peace.
There will be
no end. The only reason you see Christians taking a beating is because Christians aren't fighting.
And because they bought into the lie of the modern understanding of eschatology.
So what did God do? He gave us 4 years of the Democrats to wake us up. He gave us the COVID scare to wake us up.
Yep.
The lockdowns to wake us up, to get on our knees. And those Christians like Jenna Ellis and Flynn and Sidney Powell,
Kayleigh
McEnany, they are the Christians who are wielding their swords.
You don't come up against these people. You don't come up against the resistance chicks. We don't have to take anybody down with physical measures.
If I can do one thing for
Almighty
you,
God.
I want you to know the power of God that you have. You can move mountains. The Bible says if you say to that mountain, be removed and cast into the sea, and not doubt in your heart, then that will be... Mountains are governments. Bible says that when the righteous are in power, the people rejoice. How do the righteous get in power? By people following God. If my people who are called on my name will humble themselves and seek my face, all we have to do is turn and seek His face, and then He will come heaven, and He will heal their land. And God got a lot, and a lot of the devil got people mixed up. Here's the thing: the founding,
John O just literally wrote that out as we were speaking it in the chat.
The founding fathers didn't believe that there was going to be some horrible ending, and then Jesus would come back. They actually believed that they were in a tribulation, and that good things would keep happening. Michelle.
Darren wants us to open this package.
Okay.
He said when we sign off, Darren, can we open it right now?
We're signing off right now, so yeah.
Well, no, we could open it on air.
Right.
Probably. He said after we sign off, but we can probably open it right now. We need to do a mail call. We're going to do one on Sunday. I'm not wearing my knife, actually. Here, I can probably just pull this.
Got it.
Darren, I think this one's yours.
We bought it.
You got to do the sides
Bought it.
I never don't have my knife. All right. Are you kidding me?
Be strong. What is this?
Darren.
That's so funny. Well, looky there.
I cannot. I don't even have words. I don't have words. Darren. There's candy. They sent, thank you. They sent, okay, this is a good company.
Sweetwater.
Okay, I need to tell y'all what this is.
This is a special microphone.
Oh my gosh. Jesus loves me, and so does Darren. Guys.
We got a podcast microphone.
My whole year just got infinitely better. You don't know how much I stress over this.
Can I yell then?
I hope so.
Can I sing loudly?
Darren, you didn't send me your address so I can send you a thank you card. You're going to have to email it to me. Thank you, my friend. Thank you. He said it should be a good one. It certainly looks like one. A company that sends candy. Did y'all see that? It's got candy in there. A bit of honey in there.
Graduate your sound. Deliver your voice with warmth and clarity. And enjoy that professional radio sound you've always wanted. Connect directly to your laptop. Your voice isolation technology, customizing.
They're all thanking you. Yay, nice, Darren. They all are thanking you, my brother. It's beautiful. They are all so happy. They've been so upset.
And this is why the devil tried to hide it in the post office.
She had to go in there, and
I had to go with the tracking number and everything to try to get them to find it, and they found it on the shelf.
I'm so happy. I'm going to sleep so good tonight. I cannot wait to get... I'm getting it out tomorrow. Shoot. You are so awesome. Thank you. And praise God for you. God is going to bless you abundantly. I just know it for that.
He's just tired of hearing screeching.
Welcome to... I got to show
That's so awesome. Better sound.
Better sound. Yeah. Yep. All right. I thought I was getting a good one with this blue snowball microphone. We've had it for a while. This is the one we use. It's the best one on Amazon in a decent price range.
You care.
But I don't know. I can't get it to sit down right there. He said there's some software you can. I saw that in your email, but I thought you were talking about something separate. I didn't know you were. I honestly had no idea.
Live
you were sending
stream ready. Voice isolation technology. Touch control panel.
I will be downloading that software. I'm going to be working on it tomorrow. I cannot wait.
Auto level mode.
So excited.
Real-time microphone headphone monitoring.
Oh, man. Thank you.
For podcasting, home recording, and gaming.
J-Doc says the suffering is finally over. Clarence says, thank you, Darren. Ross says, bless him 100-fold.
It's a group present. It
is. He says, you're so welcome. Thank you. All right. I can't even wait. I cannot wait. So, all right. That was worth opening up at the end of this show. Woo! Excellent show. I told you guys tonight's show was going to be awesome. Leah had given me a little bit of hints of what she was going to do.
It was like forever.
I don't know, like 5 hours, but you guys stuck with us. So thank you for being here with us. On Twitter, we have some good people on Twitter. Book says, Dems are using ideological subversion tactics. Yes, religion is a part of what they plan to destroy, but they will not carry it out. So, he says Trump is the last line of defense against communism. Yes, Trump and all of us that are Christians that are following him, and you too. So I want to thank you guys for being here. Please like, comment, and subscribe to both of our channels on YouTube, Mass Faith 3 and Resistance Chicks. Ring that bell so you continue to get notifications every single time we go live. Go and watch the 3 videos that we did yesterday. This one right here, this is the thumbnail.
So good.
And the 2 videos that we did after that, the ghost stories, the Dominion ghost stories that we did when our power went out is hilarious.
Dominion. I want to do that every day.
The last 30 minutes were off the hook. We were slap happy and just whatever. Okay. It was great.
Then there's another story like that. We'll have to turn the lights out.
I told them they asked. I said, do you want more of those? And they said, yes, we want more.
So the next one is going to be like that. All right, God, short prayer. Don't worry. Okay, God, I just thank you so much for all the people watching.
Yes.
And for Sidney Powell. And we just pray tomorrow
and
specifically. And for Darren. Thank you. Bless him 100-fold. Given it shall be given unto you. I pray, Father God, that tomorrow that Pennsylvania hearing will be off the hook.
Yes.
I pray, Father God, that everyone hears it, that the testimony is poignant and truthful and hits right at the mark. I pray that you give Lynn Wood and Sidney Powell and Jenna Ellis and all the Trump teams, and especially Rudy Giuliani, strength like he's never had before.
Yes.
I pray he feels like he's 25 again, that he's in that courtroom and he feels like he's taking down the mafia, but even more so. I pray that the power of God will flow through his bones and his body, from the top of his head to the bottom of his feet, that they will be excited. They will be filled with joy and excitement and love. And we just plead the blood of Jesus over the White House. We pray that everyone in the White House is ready to take this on, that they're filled with excitement and
Hallelujah.
joy.
Amen.
And we pray for the good newscasters that are out there, that you continue to give them the right information, the truthful information, and even Laura Ingrams and the Sean Hannitys and the Lou Dobbs and the Marias and the Tuckers. We pray that you help them to see the truth so they can report it correctly, so that we all can know what's going on. And we pray for the army of warriors out there, that you would put like the people like Ali and Alex Jones and all these different people in the right place at the right time to make the right moves. We pray that Georgia, that those votes will be counted, that the things, all the lawsuits will go through the court of Jesus Christ.
Amen.
And we will get judgments, and judgments will come down from the King of Kings and the Lord of Lords.
Man.
For all, that's all we ask. And that's not what the Democrats are asking. The Democrats aren't asking, God, you be truthful here.
Right.
You be just here. Oh, God, we're asking for your justice. We're asking for the Constitution to stand, and for, at the end of the day, January 21st, 2021, that the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible.
Yes.
With liberty and justice will stand, all. One republic. We know that there is only one outcome for this republic. Amen. And we pray that our republic will stand because it was breathed and created in the atmosphere of the King of Kings and the Lord of Lords. Go forth, Holy Spirit. Go forth, angels. We call them the pilgrims. We call them the spirit of the founding fathers. Do your thing. Mm-hmm. We're behind you. Show us what to do. In Jesus' name, pray, friend.
Amen. Listen, as Leah was praying, I kind of had a little bit of an epiphany. And so if you guys ever stick, those of you that want like extra stuff, I know that they've got the mug club for Steven Crowder, and Glenn Beck has his subscribing. Listen, the only thing that we ask is you stay past the prayer. You get your bonus stuff past the prayer, honestly. Or the singing. But we look in the Bible and we know that God is a God of justice. Yeah. But we hear about this eternal courtroom. And judges and
absolutely.
Jesus.
Absolutely.
I got goosebumps all over my head. Jesus is our Sidney Powell defense lawyer.
Oh, absolutely.
Jesus comes and he says, I took it.
Yeah.
You cannot, man, so good. You cannot touch. Right. You cannot touch this child of mine. Look at the holes in my hands.
Right.
All right. I have paid their price. So when we look at God, and I look to the Bible to see what kind of settings God uses for his parables and his stories and his comparisons. We see nature, and we see gardens, and we see farming a lot. So I know that when God put Adam in a garden to take care of the animals and to grow food, that's what he desires. It's the best job. It is the most wholesome and rewarding living. Now, when I look at the parable of the seed and the sower, it wasn't just because that was the kind of life that they were living. It's because that's the kind of life that God wants for us. So then I look at a courtroom and I am seeing God saying over and over again throughout the word that he controls the leaders. He controls the powers. They don't do anything that God does not allow. And here in 2020, the ultimate judge and the ultimate defense attorney, Jesus Christ, is fighting this battle. And you had better believe God will never lose.
Yeah. I'm just going to read a little bit of Hebrews 11. We'll end on this. Now, faith, this is what's called the Hall of Fame of Faith, by the way.
You're going to read all of Hebrews 11?
No, I'm just going to read a little bit.
No, it's great. They all should, I would read Hebrews 11 every day on this show just because it's that great.
Okay. I read this. We had to read it like so many times when I was going to Bible college. Now, faith is the substance of things hoped for. If you lose hope, you don't have faith, and you can't move forward. It is the evidence of things unseen. For by it the elders obtained a good report. Through faith we understand that the worlds that were framed by the word of God, so that things which are seen were not made of things which do appear. Yeah. By faith Abel offered up unto God a more excellent sacrifice than Cain, by which he obtained witness that he was righteous, God testifying of his gifts. By faith Enoch was translated that he should not see death, because God had translated him. By faith Noah, being warned of God of things not yet seen, moved with fear, prepared an ark. By faith, Abraham, when he was called to go into the place where he should afterward receive an inheritance, he obeyed and he went. He didn't know where he was going. By faith, Isaac, of whom it shall be called, and Isaac shall thy seed be called. By faith, Isaac blessed Jacob and Esau concerning things to come. By faith, Joseph, when he died, made mention of the departing of the children of Israel. By faith, Moses, by faith, the walls of Jericho fell down, after which they were encompassed by 7 days. By faith, the harlot Rahab didn't perish with those that didn't believe, because she received the spies.
And then ended up being in the line of Jesus, like Jesus, great.
And what more shall I say? Michelle can tell you all about Gideon, Barak, Samson, Japheth, David, and Samuel, and the prophets, who through faith subdued kingdoms, wrought righteousness, obtained promises, and stopped the mouth of lions. They quenched the violence of fire. They escaped the edge of the sword. Out of weakness were made strong.
That's good.
They waxed valiant in the fight. People like Christians aren't supposed to fight.
Huh?
You read Hebrews chapter 11?
Did you ever see the Battle of Jericho? I mean, we just covered Gideon yesterday, man.
And they turned to flight the armies of aliens. Women received their dead raised to life again. However, some were tortured, not accepting deliverance. Others were stoned. There is a point where you go to that and you get persecuted. Yeah. But wherefore, for God has provided something better things for us, that without us they should not be perfect, because they were looking for Jesus.
Yep.
Therefore, seeing we also are compassed with so great, they're watching us. They're witnessing what we're doing right now. I am. Let us lay aside every weight and sin that does easily beset us, looking unto Jesus, the author and the finisher of our faith, who for the joy set before him endured the cross, Amen, despising the shame, and is set down at the right hand of the throne of God.
That's so good. That's so powerful.
By faith.
Yeah.
Everything you do has to be by faith.
I wasn't trying to... this is my favorite part of the show. It's just Patriot Gallery, when she re-uploads the videos, the 3-hour ones, she's going to have to break this one in half, and I feel bad for her. So that's why I wanted to sign off. So also, Edward Wallace has sent us this amazing computer that he built. Today, I dropped it off with a computer fixer because something happened in shipping or whatever, and it's not working. But when I get it back from the computer fixer lady named Danielle, we will also, not only will we have the awesome mic, we'll have the system and so we shouldn't be having any more issues. And you guys just pray for Danielle that she can fix whatever the problem is. All right. So, Patriot Gallery says, very hungry. I don't think they have had dinner yet. That's why I had the bit of honey. Because I am hungry. But that's not why I have to go, because I can fast. I'm like, when Jesus went to the disciples, I would have been there and he would have been like, you couldn't wait for 1 hour. Michelle did. I'm that guy. Anyway, we're going to sign off. We love you guys.
Food for me.
God loves you. God bless. Remember, it's not just a conspiracy theory. If it's the truth, please share this everywhere.
We're winning.
We are winning.
We're on the other side. We're winning. We're winning. We're winning. We're on the other side. We're winning. Ooh, ooh. Ooh, ooh.
Okay. All right. And after all that, okay, we love you guys. God, I can't even speak now at this point. We love you guys. God loves you, and God bless. Bye.
Let's go.